It's Chris Avalon Unfiltered, bitch. Well, hello everybody. What's going on? It's your boy Chris Avalon, and welcome to a brand new episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered, where we dive deep into all the latest hot topics, entertainment news, celebrity news, gossip, movie news, whatever's going on in the world of entertainment. We discuss it on this show and give our unfiltered opinions while we're at it. So, we do got a lot of tea to spill today. I was like, something told me to do a show yesterday, but then I was like, it's not a lot of stories. But then all of a sudden I knew it. Monday was going to come. We was going to get flooded. So it's probably, we got 11 topics to get to. So I'm going to be busy up in here. But also, one thing I love about doing this show as well is that those of you who are watching in the live chat, I love when you all chime in with your opinions and your thoughts on the topics that we're going to be talking about, which is we're going to be talking about Just Child. I wasn't going to bring this up, but because I saw there was such a huge response on my Facebook, I was like, let's talk about it. So we're going to talk about Justin Timberlake. Apparently is going to be doing a live concert for free, I believe this week, in his hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. We're going to talk about that. The people in the comments on my page was throwing all kinds of shade, and I did cackle. So I'm gonna read some of them to y'all, and I want to get y'all opinion on this as well. Plus, we got tea on Neve Campbell is giving her thoughts about what's going on with Scream 7. She was stopped on the red carpet of the BAFTA Awards, and she gave her opinion about it. I'm gonna give my thoughts on that. I'm gonna play the clip as well, so that way we can have an idea of what she had said. Speaking of which, I just realized I didn't bring up the clip, but we're going to do that during the show. Mia Goth is being, speaking of Scream Queens, because she's an up-and-coming one, Mia Goth is being sued for kicking a damn extra in the head. The future of the Fast and the Furious franchise. There's a lot of movie news we're gonna be talking about today. So Fast and the Furious franchise, Fast 11 is coming up. They done slashed the budget in half, according to reports. This is going to be Dom Toretto's final ride. Well, Vin Diesel as Dom Toretto. This will be his final ride in the movie. We're gonna talk about that. Plus, we're gonna talk about the awards. Joe Coy is calling people snowflakes who didn't laugh at his corny ass jokes. Plus, Ariana DeBose, who Oscar winner, Tony winner. She got read last night. The joke was terrible. Well, we're going to talk about whether or not the joke is terrible. The joke didn't land. She didn't find it funny. I got my thoughts on that. Plus, Monique is throwing shade at Oprah. I know y'all been waiting a long time to see when Monique going to pipe up and speak up about this whole situation. She finally said something, and we're going to talk about it. Plus, Lil Nas X is going through it because, ever since he dropped that song, everybody's coming for his throat. Cenat decided to come off of Twitch. Well, he was over on Twitch. So he was over in the world of Twitch. He gave his opinion. Then Bussy Madazz, ain't never gonna be a dull moment unless he got something to say about the shit. So Bussy Madazz is upset yet again and talking about Lil Nas X going to hell and all kinds of other stuff. So we're gonna talk about that over, the thing. And Nas did apologize because of all the backlash he was getting. So we're gonna talk about that. Plus, Robert Downey Jr. is defending his blackface role in Tropic Thunder. Mos Def is coming out and throwing shade at Drake and saying he makes mall music or makes shopping music. So yeah, when you go to the Target or Zara or whatever, like look, you do his music up in there. So we're gonna talk about that. And Candy Burris is talking about what's the latest on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Is she coming back? Is she not coming back? Has she heard anything? Has she not heard anything? So we're going to talk about all of that and more. But before we do, can y'all do yourselves a solid and hit that like and subscribe button? Let me hit my banner. Hit that like and subscribe button down below so that way if you are new and you just happen to be passing through, you will know when we go live with the latest celebrity news, hot topics, gossip, all that good stuff. And yeah, so just hit the like, subscribe button, notification, all that good stuff. I don't know. I had to pull up my Neve Campbell video. That's why I was kind of stalling. But anyway, so I see we got people in the comments. Sailor Mermaid's in the building. Regular. Hey. How you doing? And Robert, good day. And let's just say, yeah. So we're gonna get to the Neve Campbell story in a second. But before we do, let's get to the tea. I'm not gonna keep y'all waiting any longer and hesitate. So let's talk about JT, Justin Timberlake, who I saw this morning that he has he's pulling out all the stops. He has his upcoming album, I believe it's his sixth, to follow up to Band of the Woods, which was critically, well, I don't know. I don't know if the critics didn't care for it. I don't never remember whether or not critics like the, albums or whatever the case, because Rolling Stone like every damn thing, apparently, even if the album is trash. So we don't take them seriously over here anymore. Well, at least I don't. But For the most part, is I listened to Man of the Woods. It was giving Duck Dynasty tease. I didn't particularly care for the album. I thought the album was garbage. I think like finally what just needs to happen with Justin, you are not Janet Jackson with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Sometimes you need to leave some of them producers alone because they're not trying to elevate your music. We haven't heard the new music yet, but for the most part, I did not like Man of the Woods. It was giving Duck Dynasty tease. He was trying to do country, but bring a little hip hop and rap and stuff. But yeah, we've heard people who've done that kind of vibe better. In my opinion, Bubba Sparks was given that. But then I don't know what happened to Bubba Sparks. He just kind of vanished. So, and sidebar, Bubba Sparks actually did work with Timberlake back in the day. So there was that. So apparently Justin Timberlake is going back home, I guess trying to play up to his roots or whatever the case is. And he posted on his Instagram that he's going home and that he has a one night only concert in the works and that he has, and then in the video, if y'all saw on his Instagram, he showed a picture of himself as a kid where he was giving a tour of on one side of the bridge, he was showing, Memphis as his home base. And then there was the itinerary, which included travel to Memphis. So January 19th is so that's this week. He's going to be performing at the Orpheum. And let me go to my social media because when I saw that I posted that, I was like, I didn't think much of it. I just posted the article. I didn't think y'all were going to go in and be shady. But sometimes I tend to forget who my audience is. Sometimes I like to play up the whole, oh yeah, I'm gonna just post something and just be whatever. But yeah, y'all never hesitate when it comes to the shade. So one person, Pup Rhapsody, wrote, he is a P word. I do not like him. Kano Palmer wrote loser. Robert Fortini wrote loser. Felix wrote, I doubt anyone will show up. Luna wrote, unless he's paid them, then because he's desperate. Celine Dijon, who is like one of my drag friends, I love a pun in her name, said free. Even Erica Jane got $7 for her tickets. And then Teodoro, who my friend Ted wrote, and that was too much. She should have been paying people to attend. And, Mikey wrote, Brittany said no. And for the most part, it's like, look, say what you want about Justin, and believe you me, I have. But I could care less about this whole situation. I only talk about it because I know there's some people out there who actually care. Me, as far as like a Justin Timberlake fan, I like some of his songs, but I was never really into him like that. Or maybe, you know what? That's not necessarily true. I was really into him, and I think it was because of MTV and them pushing him out there to be like this big, great. I guess they were trying to push him out there to be the white Usher. But child, he ain't got what Usher got. Usher got that charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. You think he got all that too? Shout out to Drag Race. He got the talent, the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent. Justin is talented in his own way and all this stuff, but I think what really hurt him is a lot of the problematic stuff that he's done over his 20 plus year career, which was that he's thrown a lot of people under the bus so that way he can have that successful big major career that he's had. I understand he's apologized for what he did to Janet and Brittany and all these other people, but you know what? People want accountability, and it's the fact that you got to be famous while these women got to be dragged through the mud over some shit that you partook in. Like, you didn't really take responsibility for the titty situation. You was living for it until the backlash. Then you threw Janet under the bus, because I remember. And the whole thing with Britney, you was out here like having fun and being shady at her expense. There were little things that little digs and stuff that he would do, SNL, award shows, all that other stuff. So there was that. And child sidebar, I am upset because I lost my damn chapstick. Because I want to be up in here doing the LL Cool J lip licking thing the whole show. But look, it is what it is. Because I was like, and then I don't know, I've been losing it because I didn't realize, I guess I was so tired on Saturday that I literally washed my wallet with my clothes. Thank God my wallet wasn't destroyed. I had money in it and my debit card, all that other stuff was in there. Washed everything in the washing machine. Didn't even check my pockets. And normally I do. But anyway, back to this story. So I don't know if y'all care about the whole Justin Timberlake situation, and that's cute or whatever. Kudos to you. Me personally, I just want to hear the music and see like, okay, is it giving or is it not giving? Because this week we've kind of been spoiled with some music. Like, look, we just talked about in the last show, Lil Nas X, Ariana Grande dropped the song, which I did cackle a bit when people said that Ariana Grande's new single is giving Kids Bop, is like Kids Bop for disco or house music. That's what it was saying. I did cackle at that. I was like, oh, that's funny. And look, a lot of people ain't realize this, but Max Martin produced Yes and. So he's an icon. Like, he's worked with Britney and Justin and all them, speaking of which. So, we've been getting a lot of cute music so far in 2023. And so, sir, you really have to bring it, especially with Usher is about to release a new album next month, right around the time that he's about to hit the Super Bowl. So we'll see. And I'm sure he will preview some of the songs this week at that event in Tennessee. We'll see it make social media. And when it happens, we'll talk about it on the show. So good luck to you. But yeah, after all the other stuff that transpired with him, I don't really rock with JT like that. Like, he's tired. Okay, so let's move on and see what everybody's saying in the comments. Robert said nobody asked for conservative opinion on the celebration tour and Madonna. If I'm Satan as someone into debauchery or other stuff, because I'm going, well, good for me. I'm not a fucking prude. What are we talking about? What's going on with the whole situation with Madonna? Sailor Mermaid wrote, I believe Nas X was trolling with the apology. Oh, we'll get to that in the show, because I saw the apology and Bussy came out and said something, a bunch of stuff, and the apology video that he posted, and we're going to play it as a class up in here. So I got the clip, we're going to play it. The apology irritated the shit out of me, and I'm going to tell y'all why once we watch the video, because there was something that he said in there that just pissed me off, but we're going to talk about it. So the real star was who you telling? I was a JC fan. I was not really into but maybe because I wouldn't have sex with JC. But look, this show is called Chris Avalon Unfiltered, correct? And we all up within the same age range, so it's not like pedophilia, none of that other mess. Because we all up in the same age range. And who wasn't hunching? Well, I'll speak for myself. I was hunching when I was young, so yeah, JC Chasez, he was it for me. I didn't really care for Justin Timberlake. Justin Timberlake looked too much like a twink. I wasn't really into the whole blonde look, underage type. Even when I was underage, I wasn't into boys that looked like that. I always liked boys that look a little seasoned. There's an official extended mix that you can only purchase. Her team is really gunning for that number one. Oh, so you're talking about you talking about that popular song? Yeah, fuck her. Kundis. We talking about. Oh yeah, Kundis Owens apparently made comments about Madonna having to go to a nursing home. Bitch, you need to put your pussy on layaway or something and stop pushing out children, because you about to populate this world with them old bastard big football head having bastards. Whatever. That bitch could eat 1,000 dicks, and they'll all be white. So fuck that bitch. Anyway, so how's y'all morning or y'all Monday? Because I'm coming in just cussing everybody out. Particularly, we don't talk about that girl. She's like the Voldemort of the Black community. Okay, so let's get into this tea about Neve Campbell. So over the weekend, Neve Campbell, there was a story that came out about her and the whole Scream thing. Well, I saw that it was trending. Robert, actually, who's in the comments, that I've been reading some of his stuff, he sent it to me. And so I started doing some research, and I saw that she was on a red carpet promoting, I think she was there for a friend. And I know it's somewhere in the article. We'll get to that in a second. But she was at the BAFTA Tea event in LA, and she spoke to IndieWire about where she feels that the franchise is heading. Now, we already know the situation about Scream 6 and Scream 7, how it's in trouble. We lost Melissa Barrera because of the whole thing of what she said about, the Palestinians, that she was for the Palestinians and we need to stop killing people. Don't even get me started on that shit that the White House released today, talking about the 100 days that we already had, of this big war that's happening with Israel and Hamas. It's been 100 days already. So they posted something talking about Hamas has hostages and blah, 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 blah. That may be good and granted, but we just not going to sit up here and acknowledge the 20,000 plus Palestinians that's been killed within them 100 days. We're not going to talk about that, but we're going to talk about American fucking hostages. Get off my line with that, Crypt Keeper. So this president's getting on my nerves with a lot of the bullshit he does, and y'all getting on my nerves about this whole two-party system shit, because neither side is working. We do need a new party system, but I don't want to get too political. We're going to stick on the Scream thing. So Melissa Barrera was fired because of her opinion on something that differentiated from what Hollywood wanted her to say. Then we lost Jenna Ortega because, she had Beetlejuice, all the other prior engagements or whatever that's going on with her career. So she couldn't come and do this movie. Then because of what was going on with the actors, then you had Christopher Lambert, who was the director. And I was really excited to have him be a part of this franchise. He stepped away because the fandom want to be fucking assholes and go in on him and threaten his kids and threaten him because they didn't like what that asshole who's running Spyglass is doing. That's the one you all should be putting your energy towards, not Christopher Lambert. He's the director. He's the hired hand who was brought in by the studio to make a movie for the studio. He's not the one that makes all the decisions. At the end of the day, Spyglass overrules whatever the director says. So he walked away and was like, just to, I guess, protect his family, his sanity, and all this other stuff. Y'all done ruined a moment for him because this was what he wanted as a career. This was his dream job that was crushed because the BS is going on with Spyglass and the damn super fans want to act like freaking pricks. So there's all of that, all this displaced anger and all this other mess. And then, of course, people were still upset because of the way Spyglass treated Neve Campbell. That was the first straw. Back when, they wanted her for Scream 6, but they didn't want to pay her. And she mentions all that in the clip. So I do want to play this clip. Hopefully y'all can hear it because it was a lot of noise that was in the background that was going on in regards of what her thoughts was on the whole situation. But yeah, we're going to play this clip. And if y'all can't hear it, I'll just read what she says, but let's go.
Sad to me that they're struggling at the moment. I would imagine that the people at the top are spinning a little bit, trying to make the right decision. I would imagine people want to do the right thing. I would hope. I love this franchise. I love it for Wes. I love it for all the people who've been involved in the past and even the newer cast. And, I would hope it doesn't fall apart.
Is there any hope in the future that you would rejoin it given the right circumstances?
Given the right circumstances, yes. I made a statement several years ago, and it was the reason that I didn't do the film at the time, and I just really felt the need to stand up and say that I don't believe I would have been treated that way had I been a man carrying a franchise for 25 years, and that still stands, so if they were to choose to come back to me, that would continue to be my statement. We'll see.
If they were smart, they would come back to me.
Yeah, and we'll see.
Beautiful.
It's sad.
So basically, she was just saying, due to the right circumstances, that she would come back and do the franchise. And I kind of agree. Well, I have no problem with whether or not she wants to come back, but that's her decision at the end of the day. But I feel like she's stuck in between a rock and a hard place because if she decides to come back to the Scream franchise, the hardcore fans gonna be mad. Well, on account of Melissa Barrera and what they did, how dare you try to come back to a franchise? First of all, she's been doing a franchise since before even Melissa Barrera even thought about making movies. So I don't think it's fair that if they did come to her with the right deal and actually paid her worth, that she can come back to the franchise. So it's a damn if you do and damn if you don't situation. But let's talk business and let's get out of our emotions because feelings aren't facts, as I learned from watching RuPaul. What needs to happen is the fact that if on a business standpoint she wants to come back, then and they give her a really good deal and pay her really good money and have a well-written script that is too hard for her to pass up, I say bring Sidney Prescott back. Yes, what they did to her was wrong. Yes, what they did to Melissa Barrera and all of them is wrong. But regardless of the thing, guess what? Spyglass is not giving up this franchise. They're not selling it to another company. Scream 6 was the biggest or the highest grossing film out of all the movies, even without Neve Campbell being in it. So you'd be a fool to give up that franchise because a bunch of people are butthurt. Don't get me wrong, I am a Scream fan as well. I'm pissed off about what's going on with all of this. Like I said earlier, I wanted Christopher Lambert to direct this film because you could definitely see in a lot of the horror films that he's directed over the years, he's deeply influenced by Scream. So I would have definitely loved to have seen him be a part of this franchise and direct it and really give us the Scream film that we always wanted post Wes Craven. I would have loved to have seen it. We'll never get it though. So, and then all the actors that was a part of it, I would have liked to have seen them, but we're not going to get them either. Now, what needs to happen is if they don't get Neve Campbell to come back, if they still, got their foot so far up their ass that they think that they could do bad by themselves or whatever without bringing the people in, what's going to have to happen is take a couple of years off, which I doubt they will do because, this is a hot franchise and it's made them a lot of money. But you have to realize outside of the fandom, there are a lot of people that just be watching movies for the sake of watching movies. They don't pay attention to plots or what's going on in the news or whatever the case is, or following the reports on the Hollywood Report and all these other stuff. They're not following that like we are. But if you're going to do a Scream movie, I say do a complete reboot since they slashing prices and shit with every damn thing. Budgets they going back to basics with budgets. We're going to talk about that coming up with Fast 11. How they slashing that budget in half. Because that last movie was over $400 million. That was their budget. They lost their mind with that. But with Scream, it's like you want to save money and you don't want to pay these actors or whatever, the $25 million, whatever, when a horror movie budget is always small, then I say reboot the entire franchise, bring new people in, call it Scream. But if you're going to do that, because the hardcore fans going to be mad regardless, that script needs to be just as good as the original Scream movie that came out 25 plus years ago. So it's got to be perfect. You can't give a Scream 6 where it was like, oh my God, it started out strong, great first act, all of that other good stuff. Then we get to the reveal of the killers. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Like, you cannot be serious with this horrible ass third act. Well, when I pretty much figured out the damn killer 20 minutes in, especially after the police interrogation scene where she talked about where Sam talked about her therapist and all the other stuff, and I was like, all of a sudden the therapist, and I was like, okay, now you really want us to believe that this tall ass person that just went and killed the killer, that killed the therapist, is supposed to be Kirby? As short as she is? No. I knew it was Dermot Mulroney from the damn beginning. So I need y'all to really be clever with the writing and all the other stuff and go meta and do whatever. So if you're gonna do a new Scream with a whole reboot, that's the way y'all need to go. As much as I would really like to see Neve Campbell come back, whatever decision that she decides to make, I'm with it because she is the franchise. Like, she has been a part of the franchise since the very beginning. And I do agree, like, Spyglass is in panic mode. They don't know, they don't know where to go with the franchise. They don't know what to do. So they're just grasping at straws at this moment. But y'all need to take a beat, figure it out, and whatever. Because at the end of the day, look, this ain't show friends. This is show business. It is what it is, whether we like it or not. So we could be mad and fold our arms and frown and stomp our feet. And I'm not going to protest it. I'm going to protest. I'm not going to see. Okay. As a pundit, I'm going to watch it. Even though I'll probably hate watching it, but whatever they decide to come up in regards to the story, I will be watching. I could say I'm not going to watch the film out of protest, but look, I like movies. I like horror movies. I try not to allow this stuff that goes on in this industry to affect my opinion on things. I'm going to give my opinion here, but for the most part, it is what it is. So good luck, Spyglass, Neve, and whoever else. Okay, so let's get to the comments because I see there's a couple of them. Oh, he said he at work. So you are, I was gonna say you sneak watching. Okay, we'll watch later on and let me know. The core four is out. The twins left the franchise in order to support Melissa Barrera, saying they're going to see well, yeah. And I will say that to really show your appreciation, because I'm glad you reminded me because I forgot about it again, is that, just stand in solidarity and show, and I said this when I first saw the Abigail trailer, I said if the fans really want to show support and all this other stuff, go out and support the Radio Silence movie that they just did, where it was supposed to be this untitled vampire Dracula's daughter movie. Turned out it was Abigail. Melissa Barrera's in it. One of the other actors from Happy Death Day and Freaky, she's in it. So they have their signature actors that they use and all this other stuff. And the dude from The Guest, which literally I watched The Guest last week. I actually forgot how much I liked that movie. But for some reason, it was like $5 on Prime Video. So I was like, oh, let me watch this movie. And I bought it. So I sat and watched that. So if you really want to support your fellow actor, you show Hollywood that they hooked up. by going to support that movie. And plus, on top of that, Abigail looks like a pretty good movie, so I will go support it regardless. I like vampire movies, but we need like some good ones because it's been a minute. Same thing with zombies. Like we need a good zombie movie, which is why I'm kind of glad that they're bringing back 28 years later or something that they're calling it. They're doing a 28 days later sequel, 28 years later, trying to get Cillian Murphy to come back. The original director and screenwriter is coming back. So I'm really excited to see what they do with that. I saw The Walking Dead drop the trailer with Michonne and Rick. They got a series coming on AMC next month. I'm looking forward to that. Please be good, because all these other little side spin-offs, I was not feeling. I did not care about the Negan and Maggie one. I stopped at the 2 episodes. What was it? Who was the other one? I forgot his name. Norman Reedus. The one that he did when he went over to France. I was like, I watched like maybe 3 episodes and I stopped. I was like, okay, this show was not giving. Like, it's just the same drab. Like, oh, we're just going to wander through the world and the zombies and the people are horrible beings. Like, you got to give me something else. So I need a resurgence with vampires, and I need a resurgence with my zombies, because they'll never go out of style. And so I realized supernatural films do better overseas, while slasher are stronger performers in the U.S. Well, that is true, because slashers, we one thing about America, we know about violence and serial killers and shit. We got a lot of them. A lot of them, sidebars, my sign. A lot of serial killers are Virgos. Look, I don't make the news. I just report it. And also, if you go to overseas, supernatural films always tend to do better. Like especially in like Latin America, they love movies about La Llorona and ghosts and shit. And I've been sitting up in there watching them spirit movies. I'm like, oh my god, this shit is stupid. But so that's one of the things. I've never really been into Annabelle or the Paranormal Activity. I can never get into those films. My genre has always been like vampires, werewolves, zombies, serial killers, like slasher movies, all that other stuff. And speaking of which, since we're on the subject with Scream, okay, so now when they decide to do all this, who would be interesting to bring on as a director? I don't know. Maybe they could bring on the guy that did High Tension, Alex Aja, or I was thinking Damien Leone, who did the Terrifier movies. They could bring him in. I know some people are like, oh my God, that's too brutal, but I'm sure he'll scale back a little bit. But when you watch horror movies, we like the gore. I love Scream 6 because we started seeing like, guts and things. I mean, you saw it if you watch the first Scream movie, you're seeing Casey Becker's intestines hanging out her damn stomach while she was hanging from the tree. So I don't know what y'all talking about that is too gory. Did you not see the other Scream films? There was a lot of gore in those films. I mean, they scaled it back a little bit, but I remember I did see a version of when you had Casey Becker hanging from the tree and her damn intestines was hanging out her stomach. And then plus, there was also a shot when her boyfriend, Stephen Orff, was, when he got cut and they showed the scene of him in the backyard where he was tied to the chair, his guts was spilling over. They cut that out too, but I did see a version with the guts was spilling over. So, hell no. To this. Hell no, not David Gordon Green. Number one, okay, I'll say this. I liked Halloween 2018. I like what he did with that. There were moments in Halloween Kills that I actually liked. It irritated me in a lot of situations. I was like, okay, when he killed the old white man, and then he's, the black woman sitting there watching him, Michael, as he's stabbing. I was like, oh, okay, we got it. He's dead. Like, you're doing too much. But I know Halloween Ends is so divisive with people because y'all had set all this up for us to watch this film. But then when we get to I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? Who is this Corey Cunningham? And why is he dressed as Michael Myers? So there were moments in there I was like, okay, if it was a separate anthology type of film, I could have gotten it. But for the most part, people were pissed over Halloween Ends. And don't get me started on that on the Exorcist Believer movie. That pissed a lot of people off, which is why David Gordon Green just announced a couple of days ago, I think it was over the weekend, that he's not doing Exorcist Deceiver. So they got to find a new director, which was just as well because a lot of people didn't like it. And all of a sudden, in the third act, how do you defeat the demon and all this other stuff? How do you get, the demon out of the girls, whatever. So now we're going to do the Avengers of religions. So we're going to have, the Orishas, and we're going to have the Christians, and we're going to have the Jews, and we're going to have all these people coming in and doing their little chants. Like, really? Get off my line with that. This is not Doctor Strange coming in with the little circle and all the different spiritual people coming in and trying to get this demon out of the like. Stop it. So it was just that movie was just so hokey and such a BS freaking film. People were just like, no. So hell no to David Gordon Green. Let him stick with the righteous gemstones and just bring somebody in who understands horror. And I did actually see The Nun too. I didn't like it. I watched it. I mean, I love Taissa Farmiga. And I love seeing Storm Reid. Storm Reid in anything, I like her because I root for my younger ingenues that's coming up. So anything Storm Reid will be in, I support her because she's like one of my favorite young actors coming up. I loved her in oh my God, what's that? The Last of Us. I did like her scene, her episode and all other stuff. So yeah, I like Storm Reid, but I did not like The Nun too. And finally, the original screening had to be scaled back to get R-rated, plus Tatum's neck was hanged. Yeah, so there was a lot of crazy stuff that was in the original Scream movie that they had to scale back on. And I do remember seeing a version that had all that stuff thrown in. We probably wouldn't remember it today, but I do remember it like it was yesterday because I remember when I first heard about Scream, I was a kid, and then one of my friends told me about it, and I wanted to go to the movies and see it, but, you need a parent or an adult when you go see those type of movies. So, let's get to our next topics. And let's talk about, speaking of Scream Queen, let's talk about Mia Goth, who out here beating up people on movie sets. Girl, you better tread lightly. You're going to end up like Jonathan Majors, who just lost another job. He was supposed to play Dennis Rodman in a movie, and he just lost that gig. I don't know if y'all heard, but now you did. So there's a background actor by the name of James Hunter who claimed that Goth intentionally aimed her boot at his head after she was warned to be careful while filming a scene last summer for MaXXXine. Which, by the way, I'm actually looking forward to seeing that movie. I've been seeing like the stills and stuff online, and I'm actually excited because I like Mia Goth, and I like the two other movies within that XXX universe that she did. So there's that. So a background actor in the movie filed a lawsuit against Goth, who's 30, accusing the Infinity Pool actress of committing battery against him and getting him wrongfully terminated from the film after he filed a complaint against her. He also named the film's writer and director, Ty West, and film studio A24 as defendants in the lawsuit. Now, in the lawsuit obtained by People, the background actor named James Hunter claimed that he was hired for 3 days in April to play a dead parishioner in the A24 horror film, which is about a girl who survived a massacre. He alleges that he was ordered to lay in the dirt on set for several hours and that he endured ants and mosquitoes as Goth ran past him on the ground for the scene. Hunter alleges that in the fourth take, Goth nearly stepped on him, and he had informed the second assistant director of the film who warned the actress to be careful regarding how she stepped per the filing. He then alleged that Goth intentionally kicked him in the head with her foot during the next take. After she kicked him, he said he experienced a headache and stiffness in his neck, which he reported to the second AD, who notified Goth and West. He also noted that medical assistance was offered him on set, and West proceeded to film until they completed the scene. Hunter said that his symptoms progressed and he experienced lightheadedness and nearly passed out twice, adding per the filing that he had to pull over both times as he was driving home from the movie set. The background actor also alleged that Goth invaded his privacy in the bathroom on the set and laughed, taunted, mocked, belittled him, and even dared him to do anything about it. The next day, Hunter claimed that he was informed by a casting agency via email that he had been taken off for the remaining 2 days of production and banned from the movie set with no reason given. Over the next 48 hours, he said he continued to experience head trauma symptoms like loss of memory, confusion, and disorientation, and eventually went to the hospital where he was diagnosed with a concussion. He also alleged that he had bruises and red marks on his head after the kick. After the result of being kicked in the head by defendant Goth, plaintiff suffered and has continued to suffer symptoms of head trauma, including disorientation, vertigo, migraines, nightmares, and severe emotional distress. Child, that's a lot. So basically, he wants $250K for medical expenses, rehabilitation, and related expenses, along with punitive or exemplary damages. So my thing is this: I had to read all that so that way y'all will know what the whole situation is. Look, I've been on many movie sets and I've done extra work. It's not an easy gig. You do spend a lot of hours on set for them setting up things, or you got to lay about. I've never had to lay in the dirt and had mosquitoes and ants and stuff crawling up on me, so I don't know what that's like, but I can imagine it. However, with this whole situation, like I said, if this is stuff that she's done and she out here being a bitch because she's getting mad over the fact that there's an extra complaining and she feels like that the extra is beneath her, then yeah, I say check her. And also, if the director of them is being difficult, I say go get your coins, because if you got the X-rays, which states that what this person has done to you, if you have all the evidence that you can show, like, yeah, this is my doctor's note, I have all the my I's dotted, my T's crossed, all the paperwork that says that, I have all these things, all these symptoms and side effects and stuff due to somebody kicking me in my head because she want to be mad over the fact that that I'm not having the greatest of time. And look, like I said, I've been in the last show, I've been on many instances where you got people who are extras who are SAG members and are paying dues to the SAG, that if things ain't going the way in which it's supposed to go, they be on a phone call and the agency telling them, such and such as this is going on, something needs to be done. So these are conversations that has been had, and they have a right to air their grievances. Look, we just went through a whole thing with Hollywood where they're talking about, but y'all need to make sure all of this stuff, that the actors have all the things that they need to have, so that way, that there's that they get what they need to get on these sets. So I don't understand why people. I mean, and I get it. I guess it's frustrating when you're the lead. You're spending hours doing take after take after take after take. It will drive you crazy. And these directors do some crazy shit just so that way they can get that thing out of you that they need. And then when they finally get it, that's the take that they end up using. So if he says he has all the evidence and he has a way of taking her to court, then do that. But do I feel like this should be a thing where let's cancel her? So that's the same thing I said with Jonathan Majors. What's going on with his personal life and stuff, I don't feel like it should affect the career. But girl, if you're being difficult on set, I don't know. It'd be difficult for me to want to work with you. You need to take some anger management or something. Because look, sis, your career is on the rise, and here you go doing this foolishness. So good luck to you, sis. Because you're going to need it. And we'll see if the old boy gets his coins out of you. Okay, so let's talk about this upcoming Fast 11, because Fast X it already came and went. So the last time we talked about, the two times that we talked about Vin Diesel, we talked about the accusations where he allegedly essayed an assistant on the set of Fast 5. She went, filed a suit, the whole thing came out. Funnily enough, the story came and went like a fart in the wind, which I thought was just quite interesting how, we got Diddy and all these people coming out with stuff, and then it's kind of lagged on. But this whole story with Vin Diesel, who, sidebar, is notorious for being difficult on many a sets. You've heard of his on-set beefs and this, that, and the other. So with that being said, that came and went. I think the only way we're going to see what happens with him in the future and all this other stuff is if more women come forward and say that he's done things to them, unless he's tracked certain people down and already hit them with some hush money. But apparently the word on the curb is that the franchise is looking to go back to basics. So they haven't addressed the accusations with the former assistant and what he allegedly did to her, but they're talking about they slashing the budget, that they're going back to basics. So Jeff Snyder, who is a well-known insider, and usually when he gets the team, he's pretty much on it. He gets a lot of flack, but a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, he's always correct in a lot of stuff. So he has the Snyder, is what they call it, clever, that he revealed that the longtime star who has steered the Fast franchise as a producer since 2009 will return for the Back to Basics sequel to last summer's Fast X. The lean and mean Fast 11 is reportedly described as a throwback to the original film, 2001's The Fast and the Furious, and will focus on one big heist or race rather than another globe-trotting adventure for the Fast family. One last job for Diesel's Toretto. According to the report, Universal is budgeting the untitled Fast 11 at $200 million or less after costs ballooned for Fast X to $340 million. And I think a lot of that had to do with the damn cast and how much they was making. So, Senator also reports that the Fast and the Furious install may opt for a new villain rather than bring back Jason Momoa's Fast X character Dante Reyes, who was out for revenge against Toretto's crew over the events of 2011's Fast Five. The latest entry ended on a cliffhanger as Dante trapped Dom and his son, little Brian, played by Leo Abelo Perry, at the bottom of a damn rig with explosives. In June, Universal announced that a new Fast and Furious movie starring Dwayne Johnson and written by former Fast Saga mainstay Chris Morgan, his first since 2019's Fast Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. Despite their famed Fast feud, Johnson and Diesel will both produce the entitled Fast and Furious Interquel, which is not Fast 11 or Fast 12. That film has been described as a bridging chapter between Fast X and Fast 11. Diesel isn't expected to appear in the side chapter, but other Fast actors will join Johnson. So here's the thing about this thing. Okay, so first things first, I'm actually glad that they're scaling back on the Fast and the Furious movies, because I have to say, in the past couple of movies, I didn't particularly like them. I could not stand Fast 9. Fast 10, I did go to the movies and see it, hoping it would be better. It was all right, but for the most part, it was a lot of stupid, ridiculous scenes. It did look like it was over budget. Tyrese worked my root canal nerve, but he's been working my root canal nerve since he first appeared in the damn franchise. But y'all think he's funny, so we'll just, if you like it, I love it. The last movie, I do agree, it was just a lot of ridiculousness, a lot of stupid, over-the-top scenes, which you could definitely see that they ballooned the budget. It did not need to be $340 million. They had too many people up in the film, too many side stories, too much going on, and a lot of it didn't really work, and a lot of it didn't really connect. It had its moments. You always got to throw in a scene with Michelle Rodriguez fighting. You got to throw in a scene where there's a ridiculous stunt where y'all thinking that y'all are Mission Impossible, but at least Mission Impossible, regardless of how ridiculous the stunt may be, it is rooted in some sort of realism. Like, they actually Tom Cruise worked a whole year on doing that, jump off the motorcycle into a bungee jump, or not a bungee jump, but like a parachute, this sort of thing. He worked a whole year on that stunt for the last, Mission Impossible movie they did. Or when he's hanging on to the side of a plane and trying to get inside a plane. Like, there are times that they actually work on it. It's not some stupid green screen crap where they got a ball rolling down, Rome, knocking people out in cars and all this other stuff. So I am glad that they're scaling back on that. The idea of them trying to recast and bring in a whole new villain, I think is ridiculous. Number one, what's going on with the whole Dante Reyes, Jason Momoa character? Why are you trying to move on and bring in somebody else in? And I have a feeling that it has to do, this is the same thing that he did with Dwayne Johnson. Dwayne Johnson came in, and y'all know he was known as box office Viagra. I don't know if he still got that thing now. I think maybe Jason Momoa is kind of taking that over, except Aquaman, we're not going to talk about that. But for the most part, Dwayne Johnson's always been box office Viagra, where he would come in and he would basically give, that jolt into a franchise that's kind of lagging a bit. And let's be honest, Fast and the Furious really didn't start getting good until Dwayne Johnson joined the franchise. It gave it this much needed jolt of energy. And the last time when the movie made $1 billion was, I think, when Paul Walker died. Because I think for the most part, people were curious. They wanted to see how they were going to wrap this story up. And I remember, because I used to work at AMC at the time, and I hated working that damn movie when it came out, because it was just crazy busy. A lot of people was there. It was just annoying. So that was when I worked at AMC with the whole thing with Fast Five. Or what was it? Was it Fast Five or Fast Six? Whichever one it was that Paul Walker, his character, he died in real life, couldn't finish the movie. They had to bring his brothers in to be stand-ins and all that other stuff, or CGI the face and all that mess. So that was the last time that, when I worked there. But anyway, so I didn't like the idea of them trying to bring in somebody new. So you want to bring in somebody else that I guess is not going to upstage Vin Diesel? I said, well, first of all, if Vin Diesel actually showed up and would actually act on camera, then he wouldn't have to be insecure about Dwayne Johnson or Jason Momoa staging him, because Jason Momoa basically just channeled Heath Ledger in the Joker and brought that to the Dante Reyes character, and people loved what he was doing with that part. And I have to say, he was the most interesting villain that we've had in this franchise in a long time. He's the only reason why I would want to watch that movie, is because of his performance. So for Vin Diesel to be in his feelings because he don't want to be upstaging his own franchise, let's be clear, you abandoned at one point, because you didn't show up in Too Fast, Too Furious. And then you didn't show up in Tokyo Drift until the end when you made a cameo. So you really didn't jump back into the franchise after the first one until part 4. And part 4 was okay, but part 5, in my opinion, was like when the show really, the franchise really started cooking with gas. So but Vin Diesel will try to act like he is Fast and the Furious. Yeah, get off my line with that. Like, I like you in the films and all this other stuff, but we've heard, like I said before, stories about him being problematic and being difficult on set. And this might be his comeuppance with the woman coming out, and I'm sure, we'll hear more. But can y'all, maybe this, I don't want to come across as being selfish, but as somebody who likes this franchise, can y'all let them finish this damn movie first before, y'all want to come out and start canceling people? Because it's like, I want to see how this damn franchise ends. This shit been around for over 2 decades. I need to see how the Fast and the Furious franchise ends so that we could just put this shit out the pasture. And then y'all can spin the franchise over into other stuff. Didn't they say we were supposed to get an all-female version of the Fast and the Furious with, I guess, Michelle Rodriguez and a bunch of other ladies? Like, I've always wanted that. I've been saying we need an all-female version of the Expendables, which they should have done a while ago. But y'all want to talk about wokeness and all this other stuff. It's like, no, I love watching women kick ass on camera. But if you could do it in a way where you're not trying to emasculate people, then it's just like, just let women be like real strong, cool characters who don't take themselves too damn seriously. So we'll see what happens with this franchise, but for the most part, I do agree. Like, I'm actually with them with cutting back because, these action movies are getting way too expensive. People are not trying to go to the movies to spend on movies that suspend disbelief. It's like, for instance, and I'm going to wrap this up, John Wick. When you look at those films, those movies look expensive, but they're really not expensive to make. The first one was $20 million. That was the budget. Then little by little they would scale up, they would increase the budget, but it was never to a point where it was just ridiculously expensive. It was never like, you've never seen like a $300 million John Wick movie on the screen. And if you did, at least it looks like the quality is great and money well spent. So I think that the Fast and the Furious, you definitely need to go back to that because it's like y'all try to rip off John Wick or you try to rip off Mission Impossible, you try to rip off all these things. And we watch the movie and it's like the dialogue is corny. There's really no plot. Tyrese is just as annoying as ever. Vin Diesel still playing the very monotone, one note, I am Groot type voice, which is irritating. And it's like, you're not really giving range. So you can't be mad at your other fellow co-stars for actually showing up and giving a performance and you just phoning it in. I mean, getting mad because you're being upstaged. So, let's see. So Felix said Jason Moore was really funny in his part. I do agree with that. They need to end the series 11. Yeah. And I've been saying this. And I remember at one point, Vin Diesel was somebody they were going to make a trilogy. I'm like, for what? For why? We don't need a trilogy. We really do not need a 3-part of this 10th installment. First of all, you ain't really have enough stuff in the 10th one for people to want to be invested into movies. I felt like you should have just did maybe like a part 1 and a part 2, split it in half, maybe call Fast X.5 or something. I don't know. You could have called it something else where you just leave it in a cliffhanger and then that's the end. Kind of like what they did with the Avengers, where you had the Infinity War and Endgame. You could have did something like that. We don't need a part 11, 12, 13. Like, we don't. Like, the franchise was good what it was. I miss the days where it was just like the franchise was about a bunch of, speed racing robbers. It was basically like a ripoff of Point Break, and y'all were doing criminal shit. And what they should have did with the franchise, and where I thought they were going to go with it, but it's like y'all didn't really go there, is that, okay, so all of y'all are in prison or whatever the case is. Now, the only way that we're going to have you work off your prison situation, work release, whatever the case is, you got to come work for the government and have them put their criminal expertise to use to bring down other government officials, terrorists, whatever the case was. If they would have kind of went in that direction, I'd have been like, okay, this is cool. This is really a fun franchise. But then y'all started, and then y'all could have played up the whole family aspect, but y'all decided to go in a completely different direction with the franchise. I don't know what they've been trying to do. So if that would have been the concept, maybe that was the concept I wasn't paying attention, or maybe they just didn't execute it well. But that's what I would have said. I already have a pretty good idea of who they will put in the female version. Well, yeah, of course, Michelle Rodriguez got to be up in that because she is action hero personified. Uma Thurman, Halle Berry, Viola Davis, Helen Mirren, Salma Hayek. Well, definitely Halle Berry. And look, Halle Berry, I need for them to make a Sophia spinoff. Like, we need that movie from the John Wick universe. We already got Ana de Armas coming out playing the ballerina. I'm actually looking forward to that whenever that movie gets released. I think it's this year, but I would love to have seen another spinoff within the John Wick universe so we get Sophia and her backstory. I would love to see Halle Berry in more action stuff. I know she's supposed to be doing a movie, I think it's called Maud v. Maud with Angelina Jolie. So they're supposed to be doing that where they're both playing, I guess, secret agent spies, whatever the case you call it. So I'm like, if they kind of bring that whole John Wick sensibility to that role, I will be here for that. So, because, like I said, I love watching women beat up people on screen. I do. Okay, so let's get into this situation with Joe Coy, because, he's out here mad at celebrities when they laugh at his corny-ass jokes at the Golden Globes. So, during his first stand-up performance since hosting the Golden Globes, Joe Coy went on a rant about his attempt to skewer Hollywood stars currently on the award circuit. Now, shout out to Uprocks for the story. Poor Joe Coy. Last Sunday, the comic scored perhaps his most high-profile gig, delivering the opening monologue at this year's Golden Globes. It didn't go so hot. He angered the Swift child. Get off my line with that shit. He angered the Swifties. Who are they? Though he later claimed he didn't mean to. He said something sexist about Barbie, though director Greta Gerwig didn't mind. It was widely seen as, at the very best, a subpar performance. How's Coy taking it? Apparently not so well. Per Variety, Coy was in Kansas City for his first stand-up performance since the fateful night when he seemed to use the audience as a theater full of therapists. After he entered to big applause, he told them, "This big hug that you gave me is all I need. Swear to God, effing whirlwind, goddamn." He then, not so subtly, dragged his audience Sunday night, who at best gave him respectful chuckles. A lot of marshmallows, man. He said they're delicious, but goddamn, they're soft. I just come from a different time. I see the changes that are happening. I get it, but goddamn, can we effing laugh at ourselves? As the audience howled, he doubled down, saying "F them." Coy went on, "I got a feeling none of you MFers watched it, and I'm kind of happy. Oh my God, it feels good to live in this country. We get to say what we want to say. Don't be apologetic about it at all. Be able to speak your mind." Incidentally, a sign outside the theater bore a curious message: "No heckling. You are interrupting the show for everyone. Just don't do it. Hecklers will be removed from the venue." Well, look, I think on this part, when it comes to Joe Coy, here's the thing. I don't mind a joke if it's on the raunchy side. Look, we had Ricky Gervais. Y'all seem to forget. Well, people seem to forget that. It wasn't that long ago, we had Ricky Gervais hosting the Golden Globes, which I thought he was pretty funny. It's like, if you're going to tell a joke and if you're going to be, funny in a way of, like, I don't want to say mean-spiritedness, but if you're going to I guess we'll say it. Well, throw some lighthearted shade at the audience. If you're going to do that, the joke has to be clever. The joke has to be funny, and the joke has to land. And here's the thing also is that, art is subjective, and so is comedy. So what I may find funny, you that's watching right now may not find the same joke that I laugh at to be funny. And quite frankly, a lot of the jokes that he was saying just did not land. I don't think the joke was funny, that what he said about Taylor Swift. I thought it was lazy. We've seen there's been many jokes already been made online prior to him saying it about how the camera loves to pan at Taylor Swift. But look, if football games and all these other things were so damn entertaining, they wouldn't need Taylor Swift or to constantly pan at her to, be up in the box watching her boyfriend, thrash around on the field. So maybe they need to find a way to make football entertaining. But, it's for, people who love sports. It's not supposed to be like the halftime where we sitting there watching entertainers come out and perform and shake their ass or watch themselves, in the words of Mystical. So, it is what it is. And my thing is, like, this whole trying to hide behind that typical Trump bullshit where y'all trying, well, it's great to live in this country. You don't have to be apologetic and speak your mind. And blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, you can speak your mind and you can say what you want to say, but you have to realize there's consequences that comes with that. Now, you either stand 10 toes down on that joke, or you act like the whiny little snowflake bitch that you're complaining that is the very people you're talking about. So you can't have it both ways. It's like, say your joke, stand on it, and then move on. Don't let it affect you. But I get it. It's social media. People go off and they say a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes. But when you get to see them in person, they're not going to say what needs to be said. They're not gonna say it to your damn face. So I just think like when it comes to Joe, it just look. I do feel like celebrities take themselves way too seriously, and at times they can project snowflake behavior. But let's just be honest, the jokes just didn't land, and it is what it is. And you just have to know how to read the room, and you got to be a little more clever. You can't go and throw fault at the writers or whatever the case was. Aren't you one of the writers? So don't throw writers under the bus or whatever, all the other shit he was doing because he didn't want to take accountability. But look, your ex-girlfriend Chelsea Handler just hosted the Critics' Choice Awards last night, and they said she was funny. I didn't watch it, but I heard she was pretty funny, and she even threw a jab at Joe Coy during the event. I wish I knew what it was that she said if I had prepared that part for the show, but I did hear rumblings that she threw a jab at her ex posted last week, and people laughed and people loved it. So I don't know if they were doing it just to as a way to really stick it to him, kind of like the energy that I felt when he was doing that stand-up special. He was saying what he said. It felt like people were laughing extra hard at his expense because of what had happened, rather than it being naturally funny and me being authentically laughing at the joke. And that's what I always say about stuff too, is that was it authentically funny, or you just trying to just be nice because, A for effort? No, I don't agree with the whole A for effort shit, or the whole, everybody gets a trophy for trying. No. Sometimes in life, things ain't gonna go the way you want to get or want it to go, because that was the way I grew up. It's the fact that, okay, so I didn't win that spelling bee. I didn't win that talent show, but at least I tried. And if I want to win the trophy, I'm going to work extra harder to try to win. That's the way the world works. I don't believe in honorary trophies. I don't think everybody's a winner and all that other crap, because they're not. Sorry. It's just that some people need to understand rejection and all that other stuff in life. Y'all just want to give everybody participation trophies. Oh, well, at least you tried, so we're going to give you an award for at least showing up. Fuck is that? That doesn't even make it feel like you worked hard. So I truly believe that we need to go back to the old school ways of just like, you know what? Yeah, you didn't win that trophy, but if you really want to win, try a little harder next time, and you too may get that big trophy that kid worked his behind off for to get. So there's that. But let me see. So yeah, I saw Ariana DeBose got upset about a joke. Why are people in Hollywood so uptight? Yeah, I'm gonna play that. That's the next topic we're gonna talk about, and I'm gonna go right into that clip. And it said, plus his Ken joke was borderline homophobic. Oh, I think I remember hearing that. Well, quiet as it's kept, I've heard people think Joe Coy is gay. No, he's just Filipino. Well, look, I'm part Filipino too, so I can make that joke. So, speaking of which, since we're talking about, because I had to scroll up, let's get into this next topic where we're talking about Miss Ariana DeBose. So, okay, so, award shows, everybody's still in their feelings about stuff. So we had the Critics' Choice Awards last night. And Ariana DeBose, there was a joke that was told at her expense, and she didn't like it. Now, the person that told the joke, it was, I was about to say Ariana Grande. So Ariana DeBose, she was mentioned in the joke, but the people that were on, it wasn't even a comedian that did it. It was two actors. One was Bella Ramsey, who is on the show The Last of Us, and I remember them from Game of Thrones. That's where I mostly know Bella from. But now they're like this big star now, and they're on The Last of Us, which I'm actually looking forward to season 2 whenever they get that done. And then Anthony Ramos, who I should point out was actually in a show with Ariana DeBose a little show called In the Heights. So anyway, so they made a joke, and it was basically about famous voice. It was the famous voices category. So the people that were nominated was Billie Eilish, Lenny Kravitz, and Dua Peep, who actually was there. I told her I ain't calling her Dua Lipa no more. Wendy Williams started the Dua Peep thing. I'm keeping it. So Dua Peep was there. She looked good though. I like her with the red hair. Shout out to Madonna Confessions era, because clearly she's inspired. Before joking, and then she made a joke about the stuff. So what I want to do is I want to play out, because I was like, y'all need to hear it. The joke. Let me pull up the clip. Is that it? No. I don't see it. My God, did I not open? Wait, I did open it. I was like, why is it not popping up? Sometimes it does that. If I don't have something open for a long period of time, it will not pop up. So let me get to the clip. Clip.
And then there are the actors who also think that they're singers. Jack Black, Ariana DeBose, and Ken himself, Ryan Gosling. Can you feel the Kenergy? Can you feel the Kenergy?
I feel the Kenergy. I feel it. Look, it's a lineup fit for the Grammys.
Okay, so there was that. The joke was stupid and it didn't land. And my thing also was like, yeah, Ariana didn't like the joke, and somebody brought it up. They said that Ariana DeBose, Oscar Award-winning, Tony-nominated OG cast member of Hamilton on Broadway, thinks she's a singer. Who wrote this bit? And that's what I said too. I was like, okay, first of all, who wrote that damn joke? Like, the shit was stupid. First of all, if you did your research, and she did post on social media, no, I didn't find it funny, LOL. And my thing is, if you knew that, like, whoever wrote the joke clearly got to do your research. And I know people are dragging Anthony Ramos. First of all, lay off my man. I do love me some Anthony Ramos, though. But, dudes that look like him, especially if you grew up in New York, you know. If you know, you know. But anyway, so lay off Anthony Ramos. He, like a lot of the people, they're on stage, they're nervous, they're not really paying attention to the audience, because I know people say, well, why did he defend her? Because he's on stage and they were in a Broadway show together. They did In the Heights. It's like, you're not paying attention on this, like to even have it register through your brain. It's like, huh? Wait a minute. We did a show together. Why would y'all say she's an actress trying to be a singer? Number one, Ariana DeBose is an Oscar winner and a Tony winning actress. So she's been in the music industry. Y'all just now hearing about her because of her playing Anita in West Side Story, which I find ridiculous that this is the second woman who's Puerto Rican to win an Oscar off of playing the same damn role. That is annoying to me with Hollywood, but that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. And then we have, how do you lump Jack Black? I mean, hello, Tenacious D. Hello, have you not known that this man has had a whole band for the past 20-something years? Tenacious D, they all over MTV. So it's like whoever wrote that clearly had to be Gen Alpha or Gen Z, or someone that's just so damn lazy they didn't do their damn research. I would have, if you're gonna make the joke, you could have been like, oh, you have all these amazing singers, Dua Lipa, Ariana DeBose, Jack Black, and then here we have what's Ryan Gosling up here an actor pretending to be a singer or something like it. Like, if you want to rearrange it in that sort of way, I think the joke may have worked a little bit better, because then you're throwing it at Ryan Gosling's expense. But then again, if you did your research, you know that Ryan Gosling was a singer, but his acting career actually took off as his bread and butter. Because lest we forget, Ryan Gosling was a member of the Mickey Mouse Club alongside Kerry Russell, J.C. Chasez, Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, and Christina Aguilera. So if we're gonna make a joke, at least do your homework and your research and stuff before you try to make a joke that just didn't work. And the joke was stupid. I don't feel like in that case it's like, oh, Ariana DeBose is not being a good sport. I mean, she could have done like chuckled or whatever, but it was just a dumb joke. And I think also y'all need to stop letting actors who aren't comedians try to be funny up on stage and read stupid lines off a teleprompter. Like, really do y'all work. Especially, look, y'all worked hard for this goddamn strike with writers. Y'all worked to get this strike, to get the deals and stuff. Work for your coin. Stop being lazy with these stupid jokes. So that's all I got to say on that. So, so Ariana, I definitely feel your pain. It's not that serious, but you know what? She is an Oscar winner. She is a Grammy Award winning. She's a singer who's got a multitude of awards. But y'all have to do your research if you're going to come out here and try to read. Okay, so I do see we have a comment. It said, I guess it's pick one job and stay there, etc. Can't do it all, which is Gen Z. Well, yeah, I'm not listening to a bunch of people say, oh, well, I'm not going to work because it's too hard. I was like, well, welcome to the real world. Unfortunately, we all can't do the many things that we can't just all make a coin off of one damn gig. Some of us had to work a multitude of jobs to be able to do the things that we want to do. And I don't mind working multiple jobs. At least not to the point where I get to a point where the universe is like, Chris, you need to stop. Like when I saw this video earlier of Angie Martinez, where I didn't even know she broke her back 2 years ago because she said there was a situation that happened that where she was working a lot and she said, well, why did the universe just tell me to like slow down? It was like, and I was, before she was saying, I was like, because you wouldn't have listened. You don't listen when people try to subtly tell you. Sometimes you have to have the crazy incident happen to you for you to literally, for the universe to be like, bitch, slow down. And so she said that she was driving she bought herself a Tesla. This is why I'm staying away from electric cars. And she said she went to put on the brakes, but she hit the gas, and she was in the driveway trying to park the car, like stop the car or whatever. And the car went up in the air and into a tree, in the neighbor's tree. I'm like, well, and then slammed right down. And then she had broken her back and a whole bunch of stuff. So that was like, I was like, that's crazy that happened to her. And she was like, well, that's because the universe is trying to tell her to slow down. And I was like, well, damn, I don't want to get to that point. Like I am very much more mindful in the amount of work that I take. But yes, I work a regular full-time job and I do this show and I do a bunch of other stuff. And there's times where there's sacrifices that come and I have to stop and be like, you know what? I need my me time. I need my mental health day. I need, I had to start doing that because before I wasn't able to do that. But yeah, this whole thing about pick one job and stay there, sorry, but that's not going to work. And when we get to this next topic, what is about Monique going in on Miss Oprah, I mean, it's not plausible to do a one job type situation. You have to have a multitude of incomes, unfortunately, to come in to be able to sustain your lifestyle, to pay rent, gas, for gas, food, utilities, all the things that you got to pay off because, welcome to adulthood. You got to pay all that stuff off. So it is what it is. Okay, so let's get to this Monique tea-chair. So Precious actress Monique has voiced her opinion on Oprah Winfrey's film productions after Taraji P. Henson's recent revelation about her time working on The Color Purple and shared that she had expressed similar sentiment years ago. Now, Taraji has been making headlines in recent weeks for raising issues with the way cast members were treated while working on The Color Purple. Countless fans and peers have chimed in on the conversation, noting how Black women in the entertainment industry have always been treated unfairly and undervalued by their white and male counterparts. Amid the discourse, various users have also noted how Monique raised similar concerns to Henson's years back, though hers weren't recognized nearly enough at the time. Now, during a recent Golden Globes interview, Oprah Winfrey chimed on the controversy surrounding The Color Purple, which she co-produced. Everything got handled. It's so disturbing to me because why is my name even in the conversation? I've been the champion for everybody. Monique has now responded to Oprah's comments, however, and she thinks otherwise. And I know everybody's been waiting a long time for Monique to finally say something, and she let it simmer a little bit before she came out and said what she said. And I'm sorry, but I agree with Monique. She said everything was, didn't I champion for y'all? I was like, stop it. You didn't champion for those Black women, for our sisters. This is what she told The Root this week. She said what she did was, we can treat them like we always treat them. Who gonna check me, boo? I'm Oprah Winfrey. She went on noting how the issues raised would have been handled before the women stepped on set. Everything should have been done when you showed up. Now, when you hear our beautiful sisters saying, yeah, but it got fixed, it was like, it's like we're making it worse. So when Oprah Winfrey sits at the helm and Taraji P says it's an honor that we were handpicked for this movie, well, if I were handpicked for that movie, those women should have been taken care of from the moment go. And I think this is the gripe that, and if you want to read the full interview, you can head over to The Root, but I did link it in on my website, chrisavalon.com, if y'all want to read the whole thing. But I definitely agree with her. It's like, and this is what I was saying before in the past, like when we've consistently been talking about this. I said, well, the reason why Oprah's name is in people's mouth is because Oprah is the biggest name on the marquee. When you put Oprah Winfrey Presents and you putting your stamp all over everything, you trying to be like, you making them like this supposed to be this grand dame movie. And as a producer, yeah, it is an expectation that you should have everything set up. The red carpet should have been rolled out from the beginning. You can't just go and say, well, I didn't know that all this stuff was going to go on. I had to call the head of Warner Brothers at the time. And he was like, well, if I have to get a car for her, I have to get a car for everybody. First of all, that's a known thing in Hollywood that actors do not drive themselves at work. You would never if Oprah was producing a movie for Angelina Jolie or Brad damn Pitt. But then again, Brad Pitt produces his own stuff, so that shit wouldn't even go down on his set. But let's say if it was somebody of that magnitude, if she was producing anything for them white people, guaranteed she'd have that red carpet rolled out for them before they ass got there. But of course, per usual, when it comes to your own damn people, a lot of times we tend to feel like we could treat our people any old which way and they're not going to say nothing. But the thing is like, and I'm glad Taraji's come out and said what she said, because Taraji's like, well, if I don't speak up, then what's going to happen to the Fantasias or the next, or the, the next generation of young Black actors who will come up who don't understand, who haven't been doing this as long as I have been and don't know what to ask for. So yes, now that I'm speaking up and I'm saying that all this stuff needs to come out, that's exactly what needs to happen. But then what I do want to bring up is there was a post that I think it was on, oh wait, no, it's not there. It was on one of the Instagram or one of the websites or whatever that I did say with what was it? It was with Monique. It was on the Shade Room. That's where it was. And she basically said that, okay, so y'all can see it. It said that Monique said she reached out to Taraji via Instagram to show support because she didn't have her number. She said, I met Taraji years ago. That's a beautiful sister and that's a beautiful soul. She said, when I saw her on that platform break it down, that pained me to see her go through that. She continued on saying, and she even addressed the whole Vivica Fox thing. She said, remember when I came out and said, this is not right? She asked, fear is real. It's like, I don't want to get beat. And I think that's what she was saying in regards of why Vivica said what she said and got dragged by a lot of people online, because she's like, well, that's not my experience. And yes, in reality, we are not a monolith. I'm not saying all Black people experience got to be the same. However, when it comes to situations like this, when it comes about money and things dealing with career and better equity and equality, you should stand in solidarity with your fellow actresses, which is why Gabrielle Union went in and liked that comment about that Vivica ain't in the same lane as a Taraji. And is it really shade to say that? Because Vivica's been in a bunch of movies, hundreds of over, I think 200 movies or something or another. About to be 60, if not already. Face don't move though. She need to lay off the damn fillers. But nevertheless, Vivica's had a long-standing career. And she's doing all these things. And now she's getting to produce and direct Lifetime movies. And I'm sure that's a cute little check over there. And she's selling wigs. She need to sell them something to Brooklyn Heights, because Brooklyn Heights wigs on this recent season of Drag Race was a hot ass mess. But nevertheless, Vivica is doing what needs to be done in regards to her career, and that's great. But when you want better situations, you should stand in solidarity with your fellow actors and stuff. So it did come across where we're just like, oh yeah, I get what she's doing, but I didn't experience what she experienced. So we not the same in that way. So I didn't like her energy on that, and I could see why people were upset with her, but it is what it is. And at the end of the day, I'm actually glad that Monique, came out and said what she said. And I know a lot of people was saying, oh, she being bitter. So I don't think she being bitter. I just feel like Monique had to lie on that sword so that way Taraji and so many others could come out and say these things. The Gabrielle Unions and all these other actors will come out. The Viola Davises come out and say what they need to say. Because it's like, no, I'm not pulling money out of my own pocket, especially when actors are talking about how much Black women are talking about they're not making a shit ton of money. Why would Oprah Winfrey ask me to go promote a movie called Precious using money out of my own damn pocket to promote this film overseas and stuff? No, Miss Producer, you need to dig up that money, put in a budget, and pay me to do whatever needs to be done, or to do something. Because I'm not paying thousands of dollars out of my pocket to go to this hotel, that hotel, this car, that car. All that adds up, and then I'm in the hole, in the red, while you raking on the coin. So there's some people out here that love being producer in name only, but don't want to do shit. And that's kind of like what Oprah was giving me with this. So are you a producer in name only, or are you actually producing a damn movie? Because to me, for you to sit up here and act like you don't have no kind of, well, I didn't know all this was going on. Sis, you've been in this business for over 4 decades. You know exactly what goes on freaking movie sets. And you produced stuff before. So let's not act brand new. But I think now, because of social media and stuff, people see that Oprah ain't who she been trying to perpetuate this image to be. So people seeing through the bullshit. So I'm glad Monique spoke out. And you know what? With Monique, I just feel like she feels she has nothing to lose because, you know, she's a comedian. She has other ways of having money coming in. She don't need Oprah. She don't need Hollywood per se. She getting stuff going and ending up and making movies and stuff. She don't need the mainstream industry. So there's that. Okay, so let's get into the Lil Nas story, child. So I'm sure y'all all saw the video by now. You saw the video to J. Christ. I still stand on what I said about the song. Song is okay. It's mid at best. The video was cute. I like the visuals. I did think it was a cute little video. I liked all the religious imagery. And Lil Nas X has apologized, which was alluded to earlier, in the show, that someone said that they felt he was trolling. I don't remember what the top of my head because, you know, it's a lot. I'm concentrating over the show. But if y'all saw the earlier part of the show when they were bringing it up, it was like, yeah, they felt Lil Nas X was trolling with the thing. I'll give my opinion on that in a second. So there were some people that basically came out. A bunch of Christian rappers came out and said, I could care less. I don't listen to Christian rap. I listen to real hip hop. I don't listen to a bunch of people trying to benefit off the back of rap music to try to talk about Jesus and all this other foolishness and then want to sit and gatekeep what people can and cannot talk about because we don't do that in the hip hop world. Hip hop is for everyone, no matter what that other idiot fucking says. Bitch, what is his name? Dr. Umar want to sit up here and act like hip hop is only for for black people when hip hop is worldwide. But that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. Let's stick to this. So apparently Cenat, who is a well-known guy on Twitch, basically came out and said how he didn't like what Lil Nas X was doing in regards to promoting this thing. I will play the video, but I don't want to see somebody looking like they foaming at the mouth like a damn dog with rabies. So I'll just read you what he said. He said, yo, Lil Nas X, you could eat my whole DICK. I hate that ninja, bro. God gonna handle you in the right way. God gonna handle you, bro. Someone off camera questioned why Cenat was so frustrated, to which he responded, he's extremely disrespectful. Go on his page, bro. He's disrespecting God himself. He's disrespecting the whole culture. First of all, I don't understand people who get into this whole religious thing, especially when this is the colonizers' religion. But y'all want to sit up in here. If y'all want to protect the colonizers' religion, which is what religion basically is, and how they put this thing in place to enslave the minds of the people, then you go ahead and you fully put your energy and mind behind your little fake sky daddy and, you know, the fake religion colonizer bullshit. Go ahead and do that. Also, when you go and say you can eat my whole dick, sir, pull your choice of words. Because now people gonna look at you as like, you're telling a gay man to eat your penis. I'm like, sir, I don't know if you know how I get down in the bedroom. I mean, you know, if I'm a gay man and I actually do suck dick, how we get down with the baloney water. Like, I'll take it all the way to the back of the throat. Don't play with me, sir. Don't put me up to no challenge. So when you say something like that, then they get mad. Then they want to call you. You the one that said it. You said to Nas to eat your whole dick. You can't get mad at how they come back at that. So you got to be careful when y'all out here be trying to make little side comments and you trying to read and you put it in a way that is sexual. You got to be careful with that. Like, pay attention to the stuff that comes out of your mouth. Because now you invite me to eat your dick. And it's like, be careful what you wish for, sir. So, now, there was a clip, and then also Bussy came out and said something too. Bussy Madazz. He came out and I got his comment too. But what I want to do is I want to play this apology that Lil Nas X posted, and I saw it on the Neighborhood Talk, because the Neighborhood Talk stayed with, speaking of dicks and mouths, they stay putting Lil Nas X penis in their mouth with other comments, because they know exactly what their audience gives and how to get, you know, black folks riled up and all this other stuff. But there was something in the clip with Lil Nas X in this apology that he said that irritated the dog fuck out of me. And I'm going to tell you what it is after y'all hear it. So let's, as a class, have a listen, and we'll come back.
Hello, everybody. I wanted to not necessarily apologize, but I wanted to explain like where my head at and where it's been for like the last week. So first of all, when I did the artwork, I knew like there would be some upset people or whatnot, simply because religion is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. But I also didn't mean to like mock. This wasn't like a fuck you to you people, fuck you to the Christians. Like, it was not that. It was literally me saying, oh, I'm back like Jesus. Like that was like the whole thing. I'm not the first person to dress up as Jesus. I'm not the first rapper. I'm not the first artist, and I won't be the last. And I know, like, given my history with, the Call Me By Your Name video, anything that I do related to religion can be seen as like mockery. That just was not the case with this. And I will say though, with the communion video, with me eating the crackers and juice, I thought that video was going to be the video to lighten the mood, to take it down like less serious or whatnot. I thought that was something that we all wanted to do as kids or whatnot, but I didn't understand the idea of the reality of what it is. It's me eating the communion, which is like the symbolism of like Jesus's blood and bones or something like that. I don't remember completely, but I did not mean it as like a cannibalism thing or whatever the freak. But I do apologize for that. I will say I am sorry for that. That was overboard. Though I don't agree with all of Christianity's rules or whatnot. I know not everybody follows Christianity by the book 100%, or the world would be a lot crazier. But I do apologize for that. What was
Okay, so that was enough for me. If y'all want to watch the whole thing of I don't know how long that was going to be, but if y'all want to watch the rest of it, y'all can go over to the neighborhood talk and entertain that bullshit. But I was going to say this. See, in the beginning, I was all for the whole thing because I was like, religious symbolism, if you're going to use that in your art, you can go ahead and use it if you understand what it is that you're using. But it clearly shows to me that he's using these things and doesn't even know what a lot of it means, which makes me think, okay, did you come up with this? Or did them white people that you got in your little cipher, or whoever you got working on your team was like, it'll be real controversial. You don't really get the buzz going if you start putting these things in here. And it's like, how do you talk about, bread and wine, which when I went to I didn't go to Catholic school. I was going to say I went to Catholic school. My mother went to Catholic school. When I went to, I was raised Roman Catholic. So when I went and I had to take communion and confirmation, all those other things that you take when you're in, when you're being raised with Catholicism being your religion, when you eat the bread, when you go up to the priest, it says the body and blood of Christ, and you say amen. You have your hand like this, and they put the bread in, you take it, you put it in your mouth. Some people like the priest putting it, first of all, no, put it in my hand, I'm gonna eat it myself. Then I used to do the wine thing. I stopped doing that when I used to look at that damn cup, that gold cup, and I used to see swill up in there. I was like, oh, hell no. Y'all been leaving backwashing that shit. I'm not drinking it. I just won't get the blood of Christ. I just had the bread. I just eat the body. So when you getting all this other stuff up in there, you going into the church, you doing all this other stuff. It's like, oh, I don't remember what all that stuff means. But I'm like, if this was something that you were going to stand behind and you're putting all this art and imagery into your work, I would definitely have all of my shit down packed when I'm going on a video to do an apology and let you know, like, okay, so when I put this in this video, when I use this situation, when I use that situation, this was why I use these different symbolisms and put all this other stuff in the video. It looked like you was trying to troll to sell a mediocre ass fucking song and the shit backfired. And so now you got all these people coming at you. I don't like the whole gatekeeping about church and all this other stuff in religion, who can use what and who can't use what, and people going around here putting like they see me in the color purple, about, well, God gonna handle him. Who the fuck are you to determine what anybody is gonna get handled by anybody? Not everybody, like I said, not everybody believes in what you believe, and not everybody believes in your little sky daddy. When I watch The Matrix enough times, it's always saying like, not everybody believes what you believe. Nobody, no, it wasn't required for you to believe what I believe. I believe what I believe. You believe what you believe. You go over there, you do your thing. I go over here and do my thing. But you're not gonna sit up in here and tell me what's gonna happen to me like you are the Sky Daddy himself. You can't speak for other people, is what I'm saying. So, Bussy Madazz decided to assert himself in the conversation per usual. and was like, he lying. He know what he doing. Bet he wouldn't do this to Jews. He going to hell. Why are people always trying to, first of all, always bring up other religions? Oh, he would never do that to the Jews. One other person said, oh, he would never bring up Muhammad because they would behead him. I've seen these shit in the comments on social media. This is what people have been posting. And it's like, y'all really just be out here just going ham with these comments. And I'm like, if, y'all better be careful because people see some of the stuff y'all post on social media, y'all can lose y'all jobs and shit. Y'all really think y'all exempt from losing your jobs and stuff when you go out here and be saying all kinds of crazy shit to celebrities? But it's like, look, if you're going to come out here and you're going to say stuff and put these things in imagery, you need to know, like, how it's going to piss a lot of people off. You can't sit there and say, well, I put religion and stuff and things because I didn't think it was going to be that bad. It's like, are you dense? Like, sometimes I be looking at Lil Nas X as like, is he intentionally trolling or is he like short but slow? Sometimes I wonder. So I'm not going to sit up in here and jump behind somebody because, oh, he's openly gay and he's black and all this other stuff. If you're going to do some dumb shit, I'm going to call you out on it too. So before I was behind him on wanting to express himself through religion, if that was something that he had grown up with and he was like in a Madonna situation where you were using imagery to work out a lot of the things you learn, and when you get to a certain point in your life where you're questioning the world and religion and the things you were taught and all those other things. So I'm working those situations out in my music and my art. If he was doing that, I would understand. But when he said this fucking video and I saw this shit, I was like, oh, come on now. I said, oh, hell no. Now you done pissed me off and now you irritated me. Because it's like, now I just feel like you trolling and you playing games. Which I think a lot of people were saying, but I felt like the way they were articulating it was in a way that was just like, but it just seems like you trying to gatekeep religion or something or another. Like, I understand if you articulated the way I broke it on down just now, then I can understand where you was coming from. But I guess nobody wants to type all that up. That's a lot of work. Not everybody has a platform where they could do a show and talk about this stuff. So let's see what the comments are saying. I crossed Anthony Ramos off my list when his gestation got caught on surveillance cam at the wait, what happened? He cheated on somebody at the strip club? Let me shut up. I was about to say something nasty. He cute, but seems to lack any sense of integrity. Or he could be, because it could be like, it could. Now I got somebody spamming in my thing. I'm not even gonna post that up on here. I'd say this is TikTok. Wait, no, that's Twitch with some BS in the comments. But anyway, so I didn't know about the whole Anthony Ramos was out here cheating at a strip club. I said, where was I? Well, I can't catch every damn thing. But yeah, so for the most part, Lil Nas X, look, like I've said in the previous episode, and when I've had conversations, like I'm like when I've had conversations with people off camera, and like even when you guys in the comments, when y'all say stuff about stuff, I will say this: look, sir, you need to really bring it in regards of the music and the gimmicks, the antics, whatever you want to call it, the promotional trail. Like whatever you got coming for this sophomore album era, you really need to bring it as a talent or as an artist. Otherwise, I'm looking at you as nothing but an annoying ass troll who we need to be putting our energy behind, in my opinion, queer artists who are 10 times more talented than what Lil Nas X is doing. If you want to be out here and be an industry plant, as I like to call anybody that become insanely popular, then you go ahead and do that. But for me, I will support my other rappers. I will support my Zebra Cats. I will support my Cakes the Killer. I will support, I was going to say Young M.A., but sometimes she be doing too much too. But, I will support my other LGBT artists. I even like Saucy Santana. So, there'll be certain, and I ain't watching Love and Hip Hop. That shit is dry and I'm done. And y'all not going to bring the gays on Love and Hip Hop just because that show is tired now. So now you want to bring the gays to come save y'all ratings. So we're not going to do that. It's but is it the normal once a man becomes a superstar, he wants to enjoy the fame as a bachelor? Yeah, because I do agree with that. So that could have been what it was too with the whole Anthony Ramos situation. Is that what, now he's getting this big surge in fame. He's becoming popular. He's ending up in a lot of stuff. Like he did the Transformers movie, which they talking about they're going to make it into a G.I. Joe possible spinoff. There was another movie that he's got coming out that I forgot that he's going to be in, like some big, I think it's like one of the Alien movies. I don't know. It's something. He's, Anthony Ramos his career is on the rise. So Yeah, I could totally see that. That there's a, with the fame and the rise in your fame comes the temptation. And you're going to have girls throwing their coochie at you. Look, we talked about it the other episode, how Kyle Rich is mad because Mauricio, girls be sliding in his DMs, throwing their coochie in his direction, and he be liking their pictures and responding back. And I was like, girl, first of all, we all been new to tea about your man cheating on you throughout your marriage. But now she want to all of a sudden act like he just started putting his dick in younger women yesterday. But okay, sis, you want to play that? You want to play that little game of delusion like you stupid? We'll go along with it. We'll entertain it. All right, so let's talk about Robert Downey Jr. Now, I will say this: I have not seen Tropic Thunder in a long time, so I barely remember. But I do remember the character that he played. Like he played Kirk Lazarus in the movie. Did the whole blackface thing. People now are bringing it up and are mad about it. Movie came out in 2008. We're in 2023. 2024. Why are we still mad about some shit that came out back in the day? So, the movie was directed by Ben Stiller, and he played an egotistical Australian thespian who takes method acting to an extreme by undergoing pigmentation alteration surgery to darken his skin to play a black soldier in a war movie. Now, some have come down on Downey Jr. in recent years for doing blackface in the film, but the actor has never agreed with the backlash. Now, he did recently appear on an episode of Rob Lowe's Literally podcast while, he's been on this campaign trail for Oppenheimer, which I hear it next month is coming on Peacock. I still haven't seen the movie. Like, I have no patience to sit in the theater and watch a 3-hour plus movie unless it's a movie like John Wick. Like, it's got to have a lot of action, but it's also got to have, like, really good storyline. And I've seen John Wick at least a good 5 times in the theater. So that goes to show with my patience. Like, I will not sit in the theater and watch Killers of the Flower Moon for damn near 4 hours. And I will not, even though that's on Apple TV now, and I need to get around to watching that. And I will not sit in the theater and watch Oppenheimer. Although I have a friend, Esteban, who loves Christopher Nolan, who will watch this movie, who's seen the movie. I can't. Like, my ass will literally fall asleep. That's just how my attention span is. Like, it has to be an action movie or something really, like, to keep my eyes busy, like Avatar or something like that. Like, that feels like you're gonna keep my ass in the damn movies for 3+ hours. It cannot feel like it's a little 3-hour movie where I gotta concentrate and listen to a bunch of damn dialogue. So anyway, he appeared on the thing. I have the clip, so I want y'all to hear what he has to say because I can sit and read it, but I always feel like it's way more entertaining to hear it from the horse's mouth.
What was the process on Tropic Thunder? It was my favorite movie ever. Oh. Let me say, okay, your performance in Tropic Thunder you were nominated for it.
Correct.
And justify, it's unbelievable. I mean, everybody knows it. It goes without saying. It's become a cliche to say how good you are in it. It's such a cliche that when you watch it again, it's even better than you remember it.
Only I statements. I was even more fortunate to have been invited to Norman Lear's for a little Shiva last weekend. And then I was looking back at All in the Family, and they had a little disclaimer that they were running at the beginning of the show. People should look it up exactly what it is because it is an antidote to this clickbait addiction to grievance that it seems like we have with everything nowadays. But I draw a line between All in the Family and Tropic Thunder in that he said, due to the content of this show, please understand that we're looking at bigotry and racism and all this stuff through a lens that we might laugh at it to understand how pointless it, whatever it is. And we should look up. I don't want to try to.
The language is good though. You like the language.
Yeah. And the language was saying, hey, this is the reason that we are doing these things that in a vacuum you could pick apart and say are wrong or bad. And there used to be an understanding with an audience. And I'm not saying that the audience is no longer understanding. I'm saying that things have gotten very muddied. So the spirit in which Stiller directed and cast and shot Tropic Thunder in was essentially as a railing against all of these tropes that are not right and had been perpetuated for too long.
Okay, so basically there was that. And I had to make sure I closed that. So yeah, so I mean, he also said that when it came to that, and I remember like when I was, All in the Family was way before my time, but I do remember seeing reruns and stuff because, my grandparents watched the show, my parents watched the show, so I would sit and watch reruns of All in the Family, and yeah, it was about a lovable bigot, and that's when we got like shows like The Jeffersons and so many other spinoffs from that. It was spinoff after spinoff after spinoff. Like so many shows have spun off from a lot of that. But nevertheless, one of the things I've always liked about sitcoms back in the day is they did take those special episodes to address hot topic issues that a lot of times were considered taboos in those days. So it'd be about racism or the fact that Edith almost got raped. There was an episode about that, or there was like so many different things that were brought up in a lot of those type of shows, not just All in the Family, but there was so many other shows where they talked about abortion. They talked about so many hot button topics. Now everybody's too damn sensitive. Nobody wants to talk about anything. Everybody just wants to fight at each other and act like their shit is better than this person's stuff. And it's like, I miss the days where we actually would just sit and it would be the tough dialogue that would come in and we could actually sit and look at that moment and discuss the issue and work through it. And I feel like if I can remember that far back, Tropic Thunder did address those issues. You had a white man in blackface in this movie and how Hollywood sort of treated that. And you had people that kind of came at him in the film for playing that part. So while that part, the character he played was uncomfortable, addressing it and dealing with it within that moment, it's a good conversation starter that we as people should be able to have. I miss the old water cooler days where there would be something crazy that would happen in a movie that came out over the weekend or a TV show, and you would see your coworkers or you would see friends or whatever, and we would have those conversations. I still have that conversation with friends of mine, but we'll sit and talk about movies or shows or whatever, and like hot button topics comes up and stuff, and we'll sit and really discuss this stuff, but we don't want to beat each other up. We don't want to do nothing. We don't curse each other out. We're always respectful in the way. Like sometimes shit get heated, but at the end of the day, it's like the conversation's had and we work through it, and then we understand where each other's is coming from. And I don't judge when it comes to, it's like sometimes they'll say something and I'm like, okay, this is a little crazy, or I'll say something a little crazy, but it's like we all come back at the end of the day. So he also said that at the time, while he also had a bad feeling about Tropic Thunder and the potential backlash it could generate, he still thought to himself, I get to hold up to nature the insane self-involved hypocrisy of artists and what they think they're allowed to do on occasion. Ben Stiller knew exactly what the vision for this was. He executed it. It was impossible to not have it be an offensive nightmare of a movie. And 90% of my black friends were like, dude, that was great. I can't disagree with the other 10%, but I know where my heart lies. I think that it's never an excuse to do something that's out of place and out of its time. To me, it blasted the cap on the issue. I think having a moral psychology is job one. Sometimes you just gotta go, yeah, I effed up. In my defense, Tropic Thunder is about how wrong blackface is, so I take exception. And he got a Best Supporting Actor Oscar nomination for for that part, and I feel like he's back in the running to play, for Oppenheimer, which I hope he actually gets an Oscar for that. I'm glad he didn't win the Oscar for playing the blackface because it's, I think more or less maybe people were mad because the typical Hollywood response, when y'all play somebody that's racist, when you play somebody that's rooted in bigotry and stuff, that's Hollywood's way of being like, oh yeah, we're going to give you an award. Or like when straight people play gay, all of a sudden, oh yeah, you really stretched, so we're going to give you an Oscar for that. But when gay people come on and want to play that part, we're playing a gay character. Oh, we're not acting. We really that. But I'm like, I'm a gay serial killer. I didn't kill nobody in real life, but I suck dick in real life. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe the analogy ain't really working, but for the most part, you get what I mean. And my thing is, at least in the conversation, he said that Tropic Thunder is about how wrong blackface is, so I take exception. So it's like you take on the role, you understand what it is, you understand what it is that, the point you're trying to convey and get across when you talk about that, and that's what it is. But people, a lot of y'all are about as deep as a damn pond. So what y'all gonna do is, oh, it's wrong. Y'all had that white man painting himself black. And he had he had an afro. So that's just wrong. That's just disrespectful. We should cancel him. And it's like, but did you actually watch the movie and understand the connotation of what it was that they were trying to get across? And another thing that's irritating me is the movie came out in 2008. Can we please stop bringing up old shit from like decades ago and trying to punish people for a role that they played back in the day, especially when you don't understand the connotation. It's just easy to come up here and say, oh, so-and-so was doing blackface. Now I can understand if y'all was going to talk about what they did back in the day at Breakfast at Tiffany's when you had Mickey Rooney up there playing a whole Chinese man down to the buck teeth. Like, I can understand if y'all want to talk about that. But, and even then, that was just Hollywood being fucking racist. With a lot of the stuff they did, they didn't want to put people of color in movies. So they had white people out here playing those parts. Because they want to put colored, people of color. They want to put Native Americans or Asians or black people in stuff unless they were playing a caricature or a stereotype. But if you're going to do a movie like a Tropic Thunder where it's like you're trying to make sense of something that something did and address it and be like, you know what, this is not right. And this is why. And we're going to dress it up in this film so that when we explore this conversation, especially when he's talking about you come from the era of a Norman Lear, who just passed away, by the way. He was like, what, 100, 101, I think? Where a lot of the stuff he did was groundbreaking, and a lot of the conversations and the subject matter that he put in a lot of the sitcoms that a lot of my parents and even me grew up, watching because of my parents watching those shows. From Maude, All in the Family, The Jeffersons, Different Strokes, a lot of those shows that I grew up watching as a kid. That's why I understand that a lot better, I guess. Okay, so I see we got some comments. Trevor says, I know many gays that are independent due to wanting to be sexually explicit, but majors want to make it universal and keep their sex life mute and non-explicit. Well, look, now we're at a place, I feel like, as part of the LGBTQ community, that we're no longer interested in trying to hide who we are, that we're expressing our sexuality more in our art, in our music, and we should be allowed to do that. Women have been doing it for centuries. Men have been doing it, well, not centuries, but women have been doing it for a long time and still fighting the fight because people have a problem with women are being out here expressing themselves sexually. Men get to be out here popping off guns and being misogynistic and expressing sex and having a bunch of girls surrounded by them and they shirtless, or the women are half naked throwing their ass in the circle or whatever the case is. So look, if everybody else can be out here and be sexual and open and honest about who they are and stuff, then the gays should be allowed to do it too. You ain't gotta like it, but people should be allowed to be out here to express themselves. That's why it's called art. It's subjective, and we should support, or you don't have to support it. It is what it is. All of them find it unfair that lesbians or bisexual men and straight people can be sexual, but gay men in music can't. Well, I don't know, because bisexual people, we still have this whole bi-erasure thing that's coming out. And then lesbians, it like depends on who the lesbian, because a friend of mine, DJ Baker, he does the weekly top 40, and I know that they have a lot of music videos that he promotes and the music, and he talks about a lot of the queer artists and all the other stuff, and he plays a lot of lesbians, and I have seen the videos where they do get to be sexual stuff. Now, the studs, on one hand, it's a different situation. So we talking about the lip-sync lesbians, or we talking about the studs? Because, sometimes the studs, they be holding back and stuff too. Or if they are doing videos, I've noticed that with a lot of the lesbians, they're being a little more sensual with the stuff that they do. Some of it is vulgar, I will say, or would be considered vulgar. Because depending on what that means for you. But for the most part, you know what? The gays, they just have to stop worrying about what other people think and stop trying to appease the heterosexuals, or stop looking for it. Like the same thing that people talk about, why black people can't move forward in Hollywood because y'all still looking for that white validation. Same thing with gay people. Y'all need to stop looking for that straight validation. The heterosexuals they either will agree with you or don't agree with you. But at the end of the day, I'm not compromising my art so that way I can make you feel comfortable. I'm just not doing it. So you have to just stand 10 toes down on what it is that you're trying to get across and what your belief is. And Rose says, I'd like somebody to try to mess with a Jewish character. Having said that, Tropic Thunder was uncomfortably... Oh, exactly. And I think that was the point of the movie. It was supposed to make you uncomfortable, but you're like, oh my God, this movie is so wrong. It's so rude. It's so uncomfortable, but I can't stop laughing. And that's what that was. The movie was supposed to be one of those, I shouldn't be laughing at this, but this shit is funny. And so I like that. That's kind of like my humor. My humor has always been kind of a little dark and twisted and messy. But I don't want to be like one of those people like, oh my God, you can't say that. Like, let's not be PC. Not you, but I'm just saying, like, we got to stop being the PC police. But yeah, I do agree with it's like, I do agree with that. When you said that they're not gonna mess with a Jewish character, and if we say, well, because Hollywood and a lot of producers, a lot of people in powerful places, a lot of y'all are Jewish, a lot of people get mad. But it's like, but we've seen how it is. Like the evidence is proving the point. Like when you have someone like a Melissa Barrera who says something, who is Mexican, who says something about Palestine, and because a lot of people don't agree with that, now you're gonna be like, well, she's out of a job. Come to find out, the man who runs Spyglass is Jewish. So that ain't anti-Semitic. It's a fact. So why is it that when we spew facts, we're anti-Semitic? No, that's not what that means. That means you're anti-Jewish, correct? So I'm not against you. I'm just pointing out something that is a fact, and now you're mad because the fact is correct. Make it make sense. So there's that. Okay, so we got 2 more topics. And then we are done with today's show. So let's get into this story about Mos Def Child. Now he done came out and read Drake. But was it a read though, or was it a fact? In the words of my girl from Paris is Burning, Dorian Corey. So, Mos Def, whose name is it Yasin Bey or is it Yasin? I'll go with Yasin. So Yasin Bey, he is someone who is a hip hop legend. He is someone who, in my opinion, embodies all the 5 elements of hip hop. He, to me, is like on the same level as like a KRS-One, like someone who's an icon within the business, in the industry, walks the walk and talks the talk. Like he's someone who has decades of experience, knowledge, activism. He's socially conscious. And I am a Mos Def fan. I am somebody who has listened to Mos Def for as long as I can remember. Like whenever he came out with a new album, whatever the case was, my ass was in the record store buying it. So Mos Def is definitely somebody who I take what he says. I'm not going to say it's gospel because I'm not somebody that drinks the Jim Jones Kool-Aid. But if he's saying stuff, I totally get where he comes from because he is someone who embodies the trueness of hip-hop. So he recently did an interview with the Cutting Room Floor and was asked his opinion by the program's host whether Drake is hip-hop. So we do have the clip because, I love a receipt. And we're going to bring this up. And we're going to hear what Yasin has to say. And then we'll come back with the rest of the show.
Like, is Drake hip hop?
Why are you doing this to me? Drake is pop to me. In the sense, like, if I was in Target in Houston and I heard a Drake song, it feels like a lot of his music is compatible with shopping.
Commercial music.
Or it's
Commercial music,
shopping with an edge in certain instances.
Fair. I like Drake's music, but I understand exactly what you're saying.
Of course. I mean,
it's commercial, entertaining, fun, good,
it's
formulaic music.
It's likable.
Likable music, yeah.
It's likable.
But is it? I'm gonna leave you alone. We're gonna move on.
Woo! So many products.
So many SKUs.
So many SKUs. Look at all these SKUs. Oh, so many products.
So much merchandising. So many barcodes.
I love this mall. Look at this place. I mean, look at this place. They have everything. Everything's here. They have everything here. Oh, this is great. This is a new Drake. You hear it? It's great. Okay. What happens when this thing collapses? What happens when the columns start buckling? Are we not in some early stage of that at this present hour? Are we seeing like the collapse of the empire? Buying and selling, where's the message that I can use?
Right.
What's in it for your audience apart from like banging the pom-poms?
Yeah. So, and he's at the end of the day, he's got a point. It's sort of like, okay, so at one point it's like, yeah, but everyone's like, well, Drake is hip hop. Y'all be trying to act like he don't really be doing hip hop. Drake is a pop act who does with hip hop elements sprinkled throughout. Like you put sprinkles on a damn ice cream cone, little vanilla ice cream. You throw the sprinkles on top. It's adding a little seasoning to the damn, bland ass dessert that you eaten. So it's adding sprinkles to the vanilla. That's basically what it is. And to me, it's like when we're talking about the true elements of hip hop, he's a pop artist who is in the hip hop space. So why not like that? You make music to be played in Zara, and you can play music to be played, and you make music that's going to get played in Target and Walmart and a lot of those other places. That's not shade. That actually does happen. I have gone into these establishments like a Walmart, a Target, a Zara, and I've heard Drake playing. That's a bad thing, but it's just like y'all want to look at everything as a read. But he's saying, he's saying what he said, and then I saw some people in the comments, some oh, he's bitter. Oh, he's just old and bitter. Why have we always got to resort to being old and bitter as the answer for, why people are mad about something? And I don't think that's what that is. I just feel like he's just someone who comes from understanding this industry and the purity of the music and being a part of that and being in a space of, being on a mainstream label and selling records and stuff at that point back in the 2000s and so on and so forth. And understanding what that world is. Long before Drake was even putting out music, Mos Def was putting out music. So he understands how the business and the industry and stuff works. And why people just be like, you know what? It ain't always about just old people out here, or older rappers out here being shady and being bitter. They understand the game and they're trying to explain to us. It's the same thing like when Joe Budden comes out and says, oh, what does he know? He a one-hit wonder. He sold records though. Whether you want to agree with what he said or not. He understands the game. He's been a part of it. He knows what it is. And he decided, you know what? I'm not interested in playing this BS game over here. So now I'm going to move into a new space, which was podcasting, being a media personality. And not everybody is going to be able to, nobody stays on top in the whole music situation forever. So it goes to show us like, yeah, Drake is in his 30s. What is the next thing? Because y'all was, he's been releasing music and y'all been throwing shade at the last 2-3 albums talking about it ain't given. So is Mos Def incorrect in what he's saying? Because y'all saying like he's not giving what needs to be given in regards to that recent record came and went. Remember he tried to jump and do house music? Child, y'all looked at him and called, cuss his behind out for putting out that half-ass album. So at this point, it's like, yeah, where do you go from there? It's like, how do you elevate and go to the next level? Or, because there's a short, when it comes to hip hop, like when you a pop act, you can kind of go on for as long as you want, but hip hop, it seems to have a shorter expiration date when it comes to things. Like once you hit 40, y'all just getting, y'all want to age people out and stuff. But then at least you get, Jay-Z and them, at least some of them put up music. And I feel like, as long as you have it within you to be creative and come out with something, so on and so forth, keep making music. If you have something to give, if you have ideas out there that you want to project, why not put that out there? I don't think people should stop because you're a certain age or because you got a bunch of ageist ass haters online that's telling you, oh, well, you need to hang it up and give other people opportunity. There's plenty of space in this place. There's enough room for everyone. If you want to put out music, go ahead and put out music. If you're 25 and a rapper, you want to put out music, go ahead and put it out. But if you are somebody who's been doing music for 20-something odd years, you still got another album or 3 in you, keep putting out music. Don't worry about what these other people saying, but you have to have something to say. It's got to be some substance. And I don't feel like that's what Drake is giving. So, I feel like that's what he's feeling is that you're just making music to sell, sneakers and socks and all kinds of endorsement deals. So I think that's where he's coming from with that. So good luck with you, to you, Drake. And I don't know what's going on with Mos Def, but what he's out here doing, but he's doing something. Okay. Robert said it was facts, but he dug him to the grave. He gave Drake his funeral. And hi, Nikki, how does it feel to be 40 and paranoid? Ooh, you know what? I was trying not to go there with that. Like, she was in my head, actually, when I was thinking about what I was saying about Drake and the whole thing, where it's just like I've said many a times, Nicki at this point is a legend. She's doing what needs to be done in regards to her career and all this other stuff, but the paranoia girl, get off it. Like every 5 minutes, she releasing a new damn version of that Pink Friday 2 album with a new song on it. It's like, girl, if you go stop trying to gaslight your fans into buying more of this shit just so that way you can get your numbers up. Like, promote the album that's out. And now I'm thinking, I was wondering, I was like, is she paranoid? Because I remember Robert did send me something in the like on social media about that she was going on a whole rant about something, and I was like, "Who's she talking about now?" So he was thinking it was Doja Cat. And then I read an article. Well, not an article. I wrote the article actually. That Doja Cat has Scarlet Part 2 coming out. She posted in her Instagram stories 7 new tracks that are supposed to be coming out on Scarlet 2. I don't know when Scarlet 2 is coming out, but it's like Nicki apparently is paranoid, spooked, nervous, shook. I don't know. But my thing is, if as artists, even if you're a veteran, whatever, stand on what you're doing. Stop worrying about these other girls out here. Like, there's enough room for everybody to be out here making their music, doing what they doing, making their coins. Stop worrying about Megan Thee Stallion. Stop worrying about Cardi B. Cardi B out here running behind like a damn fool, running behind Offset, who continues to cheat on her and treat her like shit. So let her go over there and do that. Miss Mama's over here is out here selling Planet Fitness subscriptions to people and being snatched, allegedly on the Ozempic. She said she's not on it. Maybe she is using the Planet Fitness. I can't do Planet Fitness because I can't stand the decor. I cannot stand that purple and orange, yellow, whatever the hell colors they got up in there with the machines. That is the I know it's a little shady and shallow, but that's the reason why I do not go to Planet Fitness. I go to Blink. Blink got better equipment, and the boys is cute in there too. But I don't, particularly the one in Chelsea that I go to. But for the most part, I don't do Planet Fitness because I don't like the color of the machine. They got that purple and yellow. I was like, who came up with this? And don't they have people eating pizza and shit in there too? Mm-mm. So that's why I always say, it's like, y'all, the veterans need to stop worrying so much about these younger kids coming up on them. And y'all, remember, you are the trendsetters. The younger generation looks at you guys to see what's, I want to aspire to be you. But you worrying about, because you being selfish, you worry about that next person coming up and clicking up on your heels. Like I said many a times, staying at the top, that don't last forever. But if you solidify yourself in a space where, you have gotten your legendary icon status, then you ain't worrying about these bitches over here. You think Madonna out here worried about these girls that's all trying to come for her? Lady Gaga tried. Katy Perry tried. All these other girls, they tried to, be the next Madonna. It didn't work. There's only one queen. There's only one Madonna. There's only one Nicki Minaj. She over here doing her thing. These other girls over here doing theirs. So you can't worry about what everybody else is doing is basically what I'm saying. It's like, you try to give people their flowers, but if they don't believe it and they can't get out of their own way with their own insecurity, sometimes you gotta learn the hard way. Seems like Drake is building up his music catalog to sell it and doesn't mind including lackluster filler track. Well, it could be that. Look, everybody else out here selling their music. Didn't Justin Bieber just sell his catalog for $200 million? So if that's the thing that he plans on doing, is selling his catalog so that way he can retire and settle on whatever, how much money they're going to use and put it and sell it in Mitsubishi car commercials and Pizza Hut commercials, whatever the case is, then do what needs to be done. It's a Drake's music is pretty much just filler. I never heard his music. And well, I have listened to Drake. And look, I first got into Drake because I used to watch Degrassi. And so when I used to see Wheelchair Jimmy all of a sudden trying to be a rapper, that's what gained my interest, because I grew up watching Degrassi, The Next Generation. That was my show. So, of course, with that being the show that I watched growing up as a kid, I took an interest in the music. And then in the beginning, I liked some of the songs and stuff. But then, after a while, it's like, okay, this is what you're giving? This is clearly not for me. And then Robert said, my friends can't stand PF due to the donut cheat days and pizza. See, if you're going to do the gym, you should have a cheat day. But no, I'm not doing donuts and pizza and stuff, because I'm like, what's the point? But I got to get back on my gym regimen. Like, there was a whole period where I didn't go for 3 weeks and damn near was like, oh my God, I'm losing my mind. Sometimes I wonder if I have. Some people have seasonal depression where it's like, oh, because it's the winter time and it's really cold, you don't want to go outside and you don't want to do things except, okay, if you got to go to work, you got to go to work, but you don't want to be out here all day. So you don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to do these things. So sometimes I wonder if I got that. I haven't been diagnosed by a doctor, but sometimes I do be feeling like that. Nicki is showing her true color. She did it to Little Kim. Now it's Karma. Look at Madonna, yes, and similar to Vogue and Break My Soul. Child, when they said that, I remember somebody also was trying to read Ariana Grande's new single talking about that it's the mayonnaise renaissance. So we all some shady bitches on social media calling it the mayonnaise renaissance because you try to, everybody, all of a sudden now, Beyonce started this whole thing, this resurgence of house music, and not just house music, because I hate that people are giving, like, let's not give all the credit to house music coming back to mainstream artists, because house music been around for a minute. But we cannot deny that Beyonce took house music and created a movement around it, which is what I think a lot of the Ariana Grande's and so many of these other girls are trying to be inspired by. But, and don't get me wrong, that Guess Ann song is cute, but she could have came a little harder. It felt like she was just a little lazy with it. Even though the choreography was everything, it didn't feel like you was giving, like, I wanted her to go a little harder, in my opinion. It said Dua sold it, then brought it back because that was her money publishing. Well, she sold her publishing. I didn't even know about that. I was like, girl, why would you do something that dumb? First of all, you ain't been around long enough to even be trying to sell your damn publishing. Like, give it a good 20 years and then think about that. But no, that's a little too early to be trying to sell your publishing when you only got like what, 2 albums out, and the first album was okay. The second album is what really put you on the map, Future Nostalgia, and now everybody's highly anticipatingly waiting for album number 3. And so it got to deliver. I mean, that Houdini song is cute. I like it. Oh my God, I just realized I spelled Candy name wrong. Hold on. I put Candy like how you spell Candy Muse. Well, guess what? The good thing about it is that you can always go in and edit and spell it the right way. So Candy Burris has come out and has revealed in a live broadcast that 4 months after the Real Housewives of Atlanta wrapped its abysmal 15th season, she has not heard anything as of yet from producers regarding the future of the long-running reality show. So she did post this thing on, I think it was the Neighborhood Talk, posted something or another about it. And here's what she said. So people's going to listen to what she had to say.
Just ask any tea on RHOA you can share with us. Other than they still haven't told everybody who they bring back. Yeah, they over here, they being real tripping because they act like people don't have a life. People got lives around here. We got to make plans for other things.
Yes. And Randy says, can you please tell us you'll be a part of the new cast for RHOA? They are still working on the new cast, so I can't tell you anything. I would love to be able to tell you something, but I can't right
now. Just ask any tea on.
Okay, so, and I'm reading the comments on the side. Y'all are so damn shady. Somebody pretty lyrically wrote, we don't need her. Bring back Nene, Phaedra, Kim, and Portia. And then another person wrote, Kim Zolciak got the most interesting story right now for TV, and she ain't even on the show. They need to bring her back. Yeah, that's true too. So now, I'll say this: I can't stand Kim. She get on my damn nerves. She get delusion. I didn't like that she was added to the show, but Nene said that she encouraged that she want to be a part of the show because I thought in the beginning that the Bravo was trying to be their typical, oh, well, we can't sell a show with just black women, so we need to bring that white girl in, just whatever. Come to find out, Nene Leakes was adamant on getting Kim Zolciak on the show. She revealed that when she did that interview with Bethany Frankel a couple of months back when she was talking about yet again her, what went on behind the scenes at Bravo and all this other stuff. So she was the one that said she really pushed for Kim to be on the show. She got them, the producers, to actually agree to meet Kim. And once they talked with her, they liked her and they brought her on. So it wasn't necessarily, the producers, it was Nene that pushed for that. But that being said, Kim does have the most interesting storyline. She do give Delulu. She's in her delusion era, according to Mistress Isabel Brooks. That she looked, once you start the whole era thing, now everybody's running with that. But so with that being said, I don't know. At this point, I'm like, do we even care about the Real Housewives of Atlanta anymore? Do we really need that? Now, here's the thing. I do feel like we do need a Black ensemble series. We do have that with Married to Medicine, but look, y'all got rid of Quad. The show ain't that interesting with all these other women on the show. Dr. Heavenly I can only tolerate her, but so damn much with her annoying ass. And then you have Phaedra on the show, but Phaedra ain't really giving what needs to be given. Like, she's irritating me on this season of Married to Medicine. So we do need Black, and don't even get me started with the colorists over there on Potomac. I can't with them either, especially Giselle. I can't stand her. I be wanting to hit her in her eye and punch her face, but I don't hit women. So metaphorically, I would want to punch her face. I would imagine it. But for the most part, it's like, she irritates me. So we do need a Black ensemble cast. I don't know about Candy. I know Candy's like, well, we got our own lives and stuff. She's about to start producing The Wiz on Broadway, which is supposed to be coming out, I believe, in the spring of this year. So she's all doing things. They might want to capture that with the Real Housewives. But reality being is that if you're going to bring people on this show, they got to have chemistry. They got to be able to gel, go back to basics, because we're in the era of let's strip things down and go back to basics. What is the reason? Look back on what is the reason why people watch the Real Housewives? Go back to the root of why we watch these shows, because it was people who genuinely knew each other, that were a circle of friends that went through things, trials, tribulations, drama, friendship, all that other stuff. That is what it's about. Don't just be bringing on people because you think that they're an interesting name, and then you're hoping and praying that they bring it, and they don't. So they all need to generally get on. Also, a lot of the people y'all have on the show, they got to be able to have some type of personality. Candy just been phoning it in for the past couple of seasons and ain't really been giving us nothing. And I don't care. Well, haven't I given you all enough? Well, I don't feel like that was a line from the movie. Haven't I given you enough? Haven't I given you all of me? Something like that. It's like, what more do you want, huh? What more? What was the line from I Know What You Did Last? What are you waiting for? So, it's like, what do you want from me? We could say that line too from Adam Lambert. So it could be all those things, but it's like, but sis, if they paying you all this money to be on a show, you got to bring it every season. It's not like, oh no, you get a year, or because I've given you so much of my personal life. Part of being on reality TV is you're giving us we're getting to go deep inside your personal life. That's why we watch these shows. So, Candy, if you're not gonna bring and do what needs to be done, if you're not gonna come and show up to work and not just collect the check, because you're thinking, okay, we're just gonna have old lady gang and all this other stuff on here, and you're not gonna let us know the tea behind the scenes, then we don't want you. They need to just give a complete reboot and see what happens. But then again, we saw what happened when they did that with Real Housewives of New York. Y'all didn't care about the new reboot of Roni. Not a lot of us watched it. I watched maybe the first episode. I was like, nah, I'm good. I just didn't find any of these ladies interesting. So, I probably gotta go and I gotta edit the whole Candy Burns thing, because I spelled Candy name wrong in my post too. See, K-N-D-I is how she spells her name. K-N-D-Y is how Candy Muse spells her name. Which, before we go, I need to bring up this whole thing about RuPaul's Drag Race. So I don't know if y'all heard, but they got the new season of Drag Race UK versus the World coming out. I'm actually excited because Mayhem Miller's going to be on it. Scarlet Envy's going to be on it. A couple of the girls from España, a lot of the British girls. So I'm actually looking forward to seeing it, because a lot of those are my favorite franchises that I watch. I don't particularly watch Germany and all the other ones, or the Philippines. I try to get it, or Thailand. I try to get into it, but I haven't really been as invested. But I have to say, this new season of Drag Race, the American one, has kind of been irritating me, because one of the things I did love about, and I did speak about this on my social media, was that wait, let me take this oil, because we're not even talking about that no more. Was the fact that, people are upset over the whole Plain Jane situation that's coming in and the hypocrisy. And I love Mistress Isabel Brooks because she called this shit out. I posted on my social media, she said, somebody wrote Plain Jane is the most interesting thing that happened to Drag Race in years. And I responded, we had Candy, Irene Dubois, and Mistress, but because the mayonnaise eating basic gays want to fuck Plain Jane, y'all want to eat her up like she's this season's Valentina. And I'm sitting there like, Yeah, we had all that stuff, but because Plain Jane is on this show, now all of a sudden y'all want to talk about, oh, she's entertaining and all this other stuff. Well, y'all was against the queens being them, being themselves and trying not to be, being the villain without intentionally being the villain. And those are the days that I miss, when a lot of them were just cutthroat and being the villain without trying too hard. But it feels like to me that Plain Jane is playing this up because she wants to play the role, but she's not. It don't feel authentic. It feels bitchy and it feels mean spirited. Whereas when I watch all these other girls on the show, they understood the assignment. Mistress understood what she was doing when she was on the show. Candy Muse understood what she was doing. Irene Dubois, even though she only lasted one episode, understood what she was doing, but she got her licks in during the reunion. And so one of the things I did love about Mistress, she wrote, okay, time to report and get her accounts deleted. And I wrote, if we talk about Plain Jane, I absolutely agree. Her shade is more on the Fifi O'Hara side. Those of us who understood the assignment know what you were doing when you were on the show. The double standard does reek of fat phobia and racism. And I do think because out of drag, Plain Jane is attractive. And in drag, she really ain't really giving nothing that we haven't already seen. Like, you threw shade at Katya, but Katya already did what she was doing. She's giving what needs to be given. You're a cross between Katya and Jimbo. And your performance that you did where you squirt and ketchup and mustard in your tits, like, that was nothing inventive or new. Quiet as it's kept, I actually think that old girl from Brooklyn should have got it. Oh my God, I've been following. What was her damn name? I totally forgot her damn. And I've been talking and ranting about her for the longest. But yeah, so I don't feel like she should want the Asian chick, the one from Taiwan, who just came to Brooklyn about a year ago. So it might have been longer than that now because, they shot the show back in the summertime. And so the times have changed a little bit. So, but whatever. So that's my little rant on Drag Race. I just want to throw that in at the end. The last episode of Drag Race really didn't do it for me. I didn't particularly care for it. I just thought it was cute, but it wasn't really giving what needed to be given. Like, I expected a whole lot more. I guess probably because the first episode was so good that by the time we got around to watching the second episode and we saw the second crop of queens, we were just kind of like, that's it? Like, y'all could have gave us way more than what you pretty much have given us. But it is what it is. I do see that we have some comments up in here. Let's get to those. Okay, so Rose says, I bet they're negotiating salaries for Kim and Nene both. Well, I did hear there's something or another that they were talking about possibly bringing, that Bravo started speaking with Nene, or they liked something, or they started following her, something or another. I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I did hear some stuff that maybe Nene is back in the good graces of Bravo stuff. Nymphia Wynn is actually her name. I don't know why I couldn't think of her name. I just do a damn blank, but I am feeling Nymphia Wynn this season. She's definitely my go-to, my top New York girl this season. Like, I'm definitely living for the fashions. I'm living for everything that she's all about. So yeah. So I did hear about Nene. Now, as far as Kim goes, the conversation you talk about, I haven't heard anything about Kim Zolciak yet. She was saying that there was no conversations that was being had regarding the possibility of them wanting to bring her back. And I don't know. I think with everything that's been going on, I don't think Bravo's interested in entertaining Kim. I mean, I do agree. There's a lot of drama going on with that house and the fact they might be kicked out on the street or whatever the case is. And I don't know. I guess Bravo just don't care. But whatever, child. So we are at the end of our show. Thank you all who have tuned in today's episode of Chris Avalon Unfiltered. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification button, so that way you'll know when we go live with a brand new episode of the show. I love you all for watching. Thank you all who were tuning in and commenting in the comments on the topics that we talked about for the past 2+ hours. So once again, love you all. And until next time, ciao.